Chapter 1. Half-Saint Chapter 1. Half-Saint fighting Kai continent northwestern region in a vast cave dwelling in the Tianyin Mountain Range, a man in black sat cross-legged. Under the moonlight from outside the cave, his smooth, fair face showed a distinct, cold handsomeness, and his dark, deep eyes shimmered with a captivating allure. His entire being faintly exuded the aura of a king. At this moment, he was like an old monk in meditation, completely integrated with his surroundings. After a long while, he slowly opened his eyes, looking around blankly, and spoke in an unaccustomed voice. "What is this place?" As he spoke, he looked left and right with a puzzled gaze, as if trying to take in the entire valley. "I remember I was still staying up late in bed reading novels, but what's going on now?" Thinking this, he quickly looked down to examine his body. Then, to his surprise, he found that the clothes he was wearing were no longer the white top and black casual shorts from Blue White Star, but a long black robe embroidered with strange patterns, looking like a wizard's attire. What exactly is happening? Holy crap. Don't tell me I died from staying up late reading novels and then transmigrated to ancient times. Seeing this situation, the man in black couldn't help but curse. He was really afraid that he would transmigrate to some undesirable place, such as an ancient imperial palace, a court, a beggar's den outside the palace, or even some assassin organization. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. It hurts so much, my head hurts. He knelt on one knee, clutching his head, his face contorted in pain, large beads of sweat rolling down his smooth, fair forehead. The next second, he felt a dizzy spell as a flood of memories surged into his mind. After an unknown amount of time, having finally processed these fragments and understood his current situation, the man in black murmured, "So that's how it is. I actually died from staying up late reading, but I really did transmigrate, and it's a really awesome transmigration." That's right, he had transmigrated, and he had come to the Fighting Kai continent, a very popular novel on Blue White Star. Moreover, he had become a half-saint level super expert in it. Haha, this is great. To be able to transmigrate as a super expert, this is simply like a stingy person laying an egg, something completely unexpected. However, cough cough. Low-key, low-key. I am an expert now, I need to pay attention to my tone. As if he had thought of something, Zai Tianxiao coughed a few times, feigning composure, his smile gone, but inwardly he was overjoyed. That's right, the man in black was no longer a native of the Fighting Kai continent, but a transmigrator from Blue White Star. In his previous life, his name was Zai Tianxiao, an ordinary person who had recently graduated from university and was in the 996 work phase. After finally completing an extra work assignment from his boss, he had planned to stay up late that night to relax by reading a novel, but unexpectedly, he inexplicably arrived at the Fighting Kai continent. The original body he transmigrated into was named Zai Zio, who had proclaimed himself the Saint of Zio. He was only one character different from Zai Tianxiao, but he was a half-saint level expert on the Fighting Kai continent. Zai Tianxiao, having read the original work, naturally understood the weight that half-saint carried on this continent in an era where Du emperors were extinct. Du saints lived in seclusion, and Du zuns could dominate. A half-saint was the strongest, one could even say a legendary figure. As long as he didn't court death by provoking the ancient clans, he could absolutely walk around fearlessly. It's a pity, though, that the original body seemed to be a cultivation fanatic and didn't establish his own force. After breaking through to Du zun, he either cultivated in seclusion or explored various ruins, annihilating small and medium-sized forces and plundering opportunities and treasures from the weak. Zai Tianxiao slowly recalled the various memories belonging to a half-saint level expert in his mind. What was even more outrageous was that the original body had single-handedly, through sheer effort and a series of fortuitous encounters, cultivated to peak 9-star Du zun. He had also obtained the yin-yang twin flames, a heavenly flame that countless alchemists in the world dreamed of. He even stumbled upon a treasure in an unknown ruin in the northwestern region decades ago. he obtained half a drop of Dew Saint blood essence and some high-level cultivation techniques and pills, thus breaking through peak 9-star Dew Zun to become an early-stage half-saint. He was truly a person of great destiny, a complete protagonist-level character. Good heavens, this guy is truly amazing. He dared to rob even the top forces in the Central Plains. Because the original body had reached the half-saint realm, these lower-ranked heavenly flames were indeed no longer useful to him. He wanted to find and subdue a higher-ranked heavenly flame, but after searching for several years, he couldn't find any traces of one, so he had to come to the Central Plains. In the Central Plains, there were only two forces rumored to possess heavenly flames. One was the Pill Tower, which had the 3,000 Burning Flame, ranked 9th. The other was the Burning Flame Valley, which had the 9 Dragon Lightning Flame, ranked 12th. Naturally, he would pick the easier target. The Pill Tower, as a major force on par with the Hall of Souls in the Central Plains and the continent's #1 alchemist Holy Land, certainly had half-saints and Dew Saints. So the original body couldn't afford to provoke the Pill Tower and quietly went to the Burning Flame Valley, which only had Dew Zun-level forces, intending to snatch the 9 Dragon Lightning Flame from within the valley. However, as soon as he entered the Burning Flame Valley's territory, he was terrified by the sudden Dew Saint aura that emanated from within and immediately turned to tear space and flee. After searching extensively without success, and coincidentally, his strength had reached the peak early-stage half-saint at this time, he had to give up on finding the heavenly flame and return to the northwestern region to undergo a life-or-death breakthrough. As luck would have it, just as he was advancing to middle-stage half-saint, Zai Tianxiao, who had transmigrated from Blue-White Star, inexplicably devoured his soul. He then miraculously fused with the original body, thus breaking through to middle-stage half-saint. This is good too. Being alone, without any women or ties to major forces, makes it easier for me to act without revealing any flaws, Zai Tianxiao rejoiced. However, I thought that after transmigrating into this half-saint, I would become a middle-aged uncle or an old man. I never expected that my own soul would take the lead, causing the original body's over 100-year-old middle-aged appearance to refuse and change, becoming my appearance from when I was in my 20s on Blue-White Star. In short, it was really awesome. Although I don't know why this happened, since I've fused with your body and transmigrated to the Fighting Kai continent, then I can't stop at half-saint. After all, I am a man who wants to become a Dew Emperor. Zai Tianxiao's eyes gleamed with fervent light as he spoke boldly. Just a mere Dew Emperor, isn't it something that can be achieved through cultivation? This was neither an exaggeration nor foolishness. Having read the original work, he naturally knew where the opportunities to become a Dew Saint and Dew Emperor lay. Therefore, Zai Tianxiao had great confidence in becoming a Dew Emperor. Is this the power of a half-saint level? Zai Tianxiao slowly clenched his fist, feeling the energy contained within himself. What a powerful feeling. Even if I can't yet skillfully control this power, I can feel that just a slight leakage of energy from my body would be enough to collapse the entire mountain outside. Chapter 2 System Chapter 2 The system. In his previous life, when Zai Tianxiao read novels, he heard about Dew Sheng, Dew Saint, experts who could destroy the world and shatter space with a flick of their wrist. He didn't think much of it then, as he hadn't experienced it firsthand. Now that he was a half-saint, relying on his predecessor's memories, he finally understood the meaning of the word saint. They were truly heaven-defying powerhouses, capable of easily killing a half-baked pseudo-saint like him. But it's fine. According to my predecessor's memories, Dew Saints are in an era of reclusion, and since I'm a transmigrator, shouldn't I have a system? Besides reading Battle Through the Heavens, Zai Tianxiao on Blue-White Star had read many other novels. For example, those with systems, reincarnation systems, tycoon systems, villain systems. There were also systems that turned hosts into puppets, systems that erased hosts for failing missions, and even systems that turned into girls. All sorts of systems. Since he had transmigrated from Blue-White Star to the Fighting Kai continent, he should definitely have the system that every transmigrator needs. System, are you there? System. Zai Tianxiao called out twice. Come out quickly. A transmigrator from Blue-White Star is here. Strange, is there really no system? That shouldn't be. So no transmigrator benefits. Saying this, Zai Tianxiao tried calling out to the system a few more times. After multiple attempts with no response from the system, Zai Tianxiao frowned slightly. Forget it, I was being too fixated. Even without a system, with my half-saint cultivation, I can still lay low for a while. Plus, with my thorough knowledge of the original work, and by not provoking those major clans, where can't I go? And at this stage, I still need to properly familiarize myself with this new body. Otherwise, having half-saint cultivation, but not knowing how to use do skills would be very awkward. Zai Tianxiao closed his eyes, carefully recalling the various cultivation techniques and do skills in his mind. As a rogue cultivator, his assets are quite substantial. There's a pile of Earth tier and lower do skills and cultivation techniques, and dozens of Earth tier do skills and cultivation techniques combined. Among them, there's even a high-grade Earth tier do skill whose power rivals a Heaven tier one. It must have been acquired from that Du Sheng, Du Saint relic before. What a pity, this guy isn't an alchemist. He only has a few high-grade rank 8 pills and some rank 6 and 7 pills. After learning about his predecessor's assets, Zai Tianxiao expressed some regret. On the Fighting Kai continent, alchemists could refine various miraculous pills, and their status was extremely prominent. However, the requirements to become an alchemist were extremely stringent. Normal people usually possessed only one attribute. Alchemists, on the other hand, must have 2 attributes, with their primary attribute being fire, and within that fire, a trace of wood energy must be present to act as a catalyst. They also needed excellent soul power. Zai Tianxiao himself only possessed the fire attribute and did not have a trace of wood energy, so he could not become an alchemist. Immediately after, Zai Tianxiao, following the memories in his mind, extended his hands and slowly condensed a black and a white flame. So this is the yin-yang twin flames. Although it ranks at the bottom, it is still a type of heavenly flame, and it also aids in healing and recovery from self-inflicted injuries during combat. Yin-yang twin flames born in the cosmic void, 2 flames, one black and one white, intertwined, swirling like the yin-yang fish. Yin and yang are the natural laws, the origin that nurtures all things in the world. The yin-yang twin flames born from this origin are one of the flame forms manifested by the origin, imbued with the dual powers of life and death. The yang flame saves lives, endlessly regenerating, while the yin flame kills, leaving no trace ding. Currently devouring the yin-yang twin flames progress, 90%. As Zai Tianxiao was playing with the yin-yang twin flames, a screen suddenly appeared before him. Didn't I not have a system? Seeing the sudden screen in front of him, Zai Tianxiao was utterly confused. What happened to not having a system? Ding, progress. 100% devouring complete. Immediately, the screen in front of Zai Tianxiao disappeared. System. Zai Tianxiao called out to the system twice more, but there was still no response. What's going on? Why is there no response again? Was the interface I saw earlier fake? But that's not right either. I can feel that from when the screen displayed until the yin-yang twin flames were absorbed. My control over the yin-yang twin flames went from unfamiliar to perfect, as if I myself had become the yin-yang twin flames. Zai Tianxiao wondered. He was sure that sound could only come from a system, and it seemed to be a pretty powerful one. It was just that for some reason, ever since the absorption of the yin-yang twin flames was displayed in front of him, there had been no further response. And for such a bug, besides a system, Zai Tianxiao couldn't think of anything else that could instantly give him perfect mastery over his heavenly flame, and even increase his cultivation by a sliver. Don't underestimate that sliver. At the half-saint stage, every tiny increase in cultivation is a huge improvement. For many people at the same stage, no progress in cultivation for decades or even a century is common. What exactly is going on? Could it be that this system requires some special items? For example, heavenly flames, still unwilling to give up, Zai Tianxiao took out some high-grade pills and held them in his hand, but the previous system screen still didn't appear. It really is useless. The system only appeared after absorbing the yin-yang twin flames. It seems I still need to find more heavenly flames. After numerous repeated attempts, and trying all the treasures he could pull out of his body, Zai Tianxiao understood that this system could only function with special items like heavenly flames. Therefore, Zai Tianxiao had to, like his predecessor, go around searching for heavenly flames. However, his predecessor didn't know where to find heavenly flames and spent many years without finding any clues, while he clearly remembered the locations of most heavenly flames. A transmigrator with a system, plus him being a half-saint expert, finding heavenly flames could be said to be effortless. That's how it'll be. I'll go to the Taggart Desert first to try for the green lotus core flame, and coincidentally, I can also check Wooten City to see what stage the plot is at. But I don't think it's reached the later stages yet. After all, my predecessor never heard of any Xiao Yan when he went to Central Plains, and no Yan alliance appeared in the northwestern region either, Zai Tianxiao thought. As a transmigrator, Zai Tianxiao naturally wanted to meet Xiao Yan, the son of destiny of the Fighting Kai continent. Of course, he wouldn't be foolish enough to help Xiao Yan for benefits to curry favor, cling to the protagonist's thigh, and eventually rise to prominence. He was already a half-saint. Even Xiao Yan's teacher, Yao Chen, before his demise was no match for him. Why would he need to fawn over others? Of course, he wasn't that kind of person either. Although Zai Tianxiao on Blue White Star had only recently started working, he deeply understood how fragile human hearts were in the face of profit. Even in the face of some enormous benefits, even one's own relatives could sell you out, let alone in this Fighting Kai continent where the strong prey on the weak. Originally, I didn't want to add a system, but without it, it would be hard to explain why the protagonist could devour heavenly flames. So there was no choice. Also, saying rogue cultivator just means not joining a faction. It doesn't mean they won't rob, nor does it mean their own strength is weak. Chapter 3, Duzong Cave. Chapter 3. The Duzong's cave dwelling having made up his mind, Zai Tianxiao rose and instantly vanished from inside the cave. In the blink of an eye, his figure appeared on a cliff dozens of miles outside the cave. So this is the power of space, Zai Tianxiao exclaimed. This was his first time using the power of space. Although he knew that a Duzun could control space, it was only a conjecture from his time on Blue Star, without any practical concept. But this time, as a half-saint, he truly experienced the formidable power of space. It was terrifying beyond measure. Zai Tianxiao looked out, the bright moonlight shining on the rolling Tianyin Mountain Range. This mountain range was the Tianyin Mountain Range, located next to an empire called the Lan Shan Empire among the many empires in the northwest region. The two were 1,000 miles apart, which could be said to be neither far nor near. Zai Tianxiao slowly floated into the air and flew steadily towards the edge of the mountain range. As for why he didn't directly tear space and shuttle through, wasn't it because he wanted to see more of this Fighting Kai continent? Using a spatial wormhole directly would be too uninteresting. Oh, I didn't expect there to be so many magical beasts at the edge of this mountain range. While flying, Zai Tianxiao deliberately released his soul power to probe the magical beasts in the mountain range below. The strongest are only a few fifth-tier magical beasts. No wonder my predecessor didn't pay much attention. His predecessor was a half-saint powerhouse, and mere fifth-tier Du Wang-level magical beasts were not worth a saint's attention. The magical beasts below, sensing the soul power from Zai Tianxiao, were all frightened and scattered, causing more than half of the mountain range to become restless for a time. The reason why the low-tier magical beasts in the mountain range could withstand Zai Tianxiao's soul power sweep was only because Zai Tianxiao deliberately suppressed it and did not release any killing intent. Otherwise, how could some low-tier magical beasts possibly withstand the soul probe of a half-saint-level powerhouse? At the junction of the Lan Shan Empire and the Tianyin Mountain Range, a team of 2 men and 2 women was hurrying forward. "Senior brother, Why are the magical beasts in the Tianyin Mountain Range ahead suddenly restless? A woman at the back of the team asked the man leading the group. This questioning woman was dressed in green, with a pretty face, appearing to be only 17 or 18 years old, with a pair of nimble large eyes, like an elf. Before the leading man could answer, the white-robed man next to the green-clothed woman on her left quickly interjected. "Junior sister, don't panic. Even if a group of magical beasts rushes out, your second senior brother will protect you. Yes, yes, little junior sister, don't worry, second senior brother will protect us." The red-shirted woman on the other side of the white-robed man quickly chimed in. Although this red-shirted woman was not as beautiful as the green-clothed woman in front, she could still be considered charming and pretty. Seeing this, the leading man was silent for a moment, then spoke. "Junior brother, you must not be reckless. The restlessness of the magical beasts in the Tianyin Mountain Range must mean something big has happened inside. Otherwise, it wouldn't stir up so many magical beast groups. In any case, we must be careful. Although this is the edge of the mountain range, if a group of magical beasts suddenly rushes out, we will be in trouble." Although their strength was not bad, they couldn't withstand a group of magical beasts attacking them all at once. Senior brother is right. Immediately, the green-clothed woman turned to face the white-robed man. "Second senior brother, you shouldn't always be so reckless, or you'll suffer a great loss. Yes, yes, little junior sister's lesson is correct." The white-robed man chuckled in response. "Let's leave here quickly. After investigating the Du Zong's cave dwelling this time, I will report this matter to the Emperor when we return, and I believe the Emperor will send people to investigate." The leading man nodded slightly. Just as they were about to leave, a black-clothed man suddenly appeared in front of them, blocking their path. The sudden change startled all four of them. The man leading, who was called Senior Brother, asked the black-clothed man in front, "Who is your excellency, and why are you blocking our path?" The black-clothed man was Zai Tianxiao. He was originally going to leave the Tianyin Mountain Range, but he happened to see a group of people below, and heard them say that the magical beasts in the Tianyin Mountain Range were restless, and that they would go back to send people to investigate. As the main cause of the disturbance, he suddenly became interested, so he came down to tease this group of people. Good cultivation. 1 great Du Master, 2 Du Shi Battle Masters, and 1 9-star Du Practitioner, Zai Tianxiao said calmly as he looked at the group. Except for the green-clothed woman, this group of people were all around 20 years old, which was quite good for this remote northwest region. "Playing tricks, who are you?" The white-robed man, who was called second senior brother, frowned and immediately spoke. "Second junior brother." The leading man reprimanded the person called second senior brother. The latter, seeing that senior brother was somewhat angry, moved his mouth slightly, then fell silent and did not speak again. Immediately, the leading man cupped his fists and looked at Zai Tianxiao. "Please do not be offended, senior. I am Feng Jing, the senior disciple of the Feng Yu sect from the Lan Shan Empire. These are my junior brother and 2 junior sisters." The Lan Shan Empire, huh? In the memories I've merged, it seems to be a very small empire where it's difficult for even a Du Wang to appear. Zai Tianxiao thought for a moment and said, "No matter, continue." Because the Lan Shan Empire was close to the Tianyin Mountain Range, his predecessor also knew about the situation of some empires around the mountain range. Feng Jing paused and continued. "As for why we are here, senior, do you know about the news of the Du Zong's cave dwelling discovered near the Tianyin Mountain Range a while ago?" Given Zai Tianxiao's sudden appearance and his immediate announcement of their group's strength, Feng Jing knew that the black-clothed man in front was at least a Du Ling-level powerhouse. Such a powerhouse could already serve as an elder in his sect, so he kindly stated the purpose of their trip. A Du Zong's cave dwelling. When did this happen? Zai Tianxiao didn't pay much attention to their actions, only asking, "Senior must be a powerhouse passing through here. This news has already spread widely in my Lan Shan Empire, and it won't be long before it reaches other empires." Feng Jing paused and continued, "And we have only received notification from the sect to first go to the ruins to investigate and gain some experience." Chapter 4, The Foursome. Chapter 4, The group of four, upon hearing this, Zai Tianxiao pondered whether or not he should acquire this ruin. After all, even a small mosquito is still meat, and at that time, there would surely be many Du Wangs and Du Huangs vying for that Du Zong ruin. He only needed to strike them with overwhelming strength, and as for those who didn't listen, he would simply kill them, then conveniently take all the valuable items from the ruin. That way, he could make a small profit again. As for whether a half-saint still needs the possessions of a Du Zong. What a joke for me, a half-saint, to take your Du Zong's things. That is me looking highly upon you, understand. Moreover, would you care about something given to you for free? He was already so powerful, and unlike other protagonists, he didn't overthink things. If he wanted to go, he went. Resources he could obtain just by showing his face. Why not? Looking at the long silent Zai Tianxiao, Feng Jing cautiously said, "Senior, if there's nothing else, we'll take our leave first." "All right." After a moment of silence, Zai Tianxiao nodded slightly, then seemed to remember something and continued, "The beast unrest in that mountain range was caused by me. You don't need to worry about it, it will be fine soon." TCH bragging, "Who do you think you are?" Saying the beast commotion in the mountain range was caused by you. The red-shirted girl beside him pouted and whispered, "Third junior sister, do not speak too much." After saying junior sister, Feng Jing immediately added, "Senior, third junior sister grew up in the sect and hasn't seen much of the world. Please, senior, don't take offense. We will leave now. Go." In response, Zai Tianxiao merely waved his hand and said nothing. She was just a little girl from a small place. He wouldn't go so far as to destroy her for a single remark. Seeing that Zai Tianxiao didn't take it to heart, Feng Jing breathed a sigh of relief. Because regardless of whether the beast unrest in the Tianyin Mountain Range was caused by him, he couldn't afford to offend this powerful individual, who was likely above the Du Ling battle spirit level. Feng Jing was afraid that if Zai Tianxiao became unhappy, he would directly kill them and then simply leave. Even if their backing was strong, it would probably be very difficult to find him. Let's go. With that, the group quickly disappeared from Zai Tianxiao's sight. Zai Tianxiao, who remained in place, didn't say anything the whole time. He didn't need to be upset by the words of a young Du Master girl. At most, when he encounters their backing force while collecting the Du Zong ruin, he will take a little more from their sect's possessions. He definitely won't dwell on it too much. It seems I need to change my plan. I'll go get the free items first, then head to Wooten City. Zai Tianxiao rubbed his chin, muttering to himself. Afterward, he disappeared from his spot with a blink. Imperial capital of the Lan Shan Empire, a group of four was rushing towards the imperial city. "Senior brother, I know you stopped third junior sister just now because you were afraid she would say the wrong thing, but even so, why did you flatter that black-clothed man so much? I guess even if he's stronger than you, he should only be at the dueling level, right?" The green-clothed girl, who had been stopped by her senior brother earlier, asked in confusion. The green-clothed girl came from the imperial city. The emperor of the imperial city was her grandfather, and her grandfather was also a Peak Du Wang battle king expert. Within this Lan Shan Empire, her grandfather was known as the strongest, so she had the confidence not to take a Du Ling battle spirit level person seriously. Exactly, isn't he just a bit stronger? He even said the beast commotion in the mountain range was caused by him. Who does he think he is, a Du Huang battle emperor? Ridiculous, he doesn't even have Du Kai wings. The white-robed man, referred to as second senior brother, said angrily, "That's right, senior brother. Even if he is a Du Ling battle spirit expert, as long as we reveal the identities of junior sister and second senior brother, young Master Chu from the Chu family, plus your identity as the most favored disciple of the Feng Yu sect master, I believe he wouldn't dare to do anything to us." The red-shirted girl also chimed in. Listening to the green-clothed junior sister's question, Feng Jing softly said, "Junior sister, you don't understand. The aura that man suddenly exuded made me feel a sense of suffocation, but that feeling just flashed by, so you didn't perceive it." He then turned to the two behind him, frowning slightly as he spoke. "Junior sister is young and doesn't understand, but have you two been in the imperial city for too long that you've lost even your basic respect for powerful individuals? Leaving aside whether he is truly above Du Ling, battle spirit, or not, even if he isn't, with his movement technique that allowed him to suddenly appear before us without us noticing, do you think he doesn't have a powerful force behind him? Moreover, some powerful individuals have strange tempers. If he suddenly killed a few of us and then fled to another place, do you think the forces behind you two would be able to find him? Or do you think your family would dispatch a large number of clansmen across the continent to find a Du Ling battle spirit, level expert for your deceased selves? Hearing their senior brother speak to this point, the white-robed man and the red-shirted girl swallowed, feeling a sense of dread, and at the same time understood their senior brother's concerns. The junior sister on the side also snapped back to reality and truthfully said, "Senior brother is so smart, he can understand such complex relationships, as expected of the number one person among the younger generation of the sect. Haha, junior sister is joking. If you go out and gain more experience in the future, you'll understand. You can't be like your second senior brother and third junior sister like frogs in a well. You'll suffer greatly sooner or later." Feng Jing responded with a slight smile. Looking at Feng Jing's stern face, the green-clothed girl shyly said, I understand, senior brother." The second senior brother behind them, seeing the green-clothed junior sister looking shyly at senior brother, clenched his hands, sighed softly in his heart, and then released his grip. He had always liked junior sister, but junior sister was only interested in that wooden cultivation maniac senior brother, which made him very uncomfortable. The red-shirted girl beside him, seeing the seemingly troubled expression of second senior brother, asked, "Second senior brother, what's wrong?" The white-robed man, second senior brother, heard this, turned to look at the red-shirted girl, forced a smile, and said, "I'm fine, third junior sister." The red-shirted girl's eyes flickered upon hearing this, then dimmed. She looked into the distance, a trace of complexity flashing in her eyes, and with a soft sigh, she didn't press further. Feng Jing nodded slightly, looking at the two behind him. "All right, don't just stand there. Hurry up and go. I still need to report this matter to the Emperor." Yes, senior brother X2 at this moment, Zai Tianxiao, far away in the Lan Shan Empire, did not know that his casual actions today had given several people a profound understanding and experience. No need to wonder why the protagonist goes to a Du Zong's place. The answer is that the protagonist wants to show off and adapt to this world. Also, it involves the appearance of the system, and the fact that the protagonist can enhance his soul power even though he is not an alchemist. In addition, some readers ask me to respond from the protagonist's perspective, so I'll say this. The protagonist is a 20-something office worker who transmigrated, merged with his predecessor, and gained the power of a half-saint. As soon as he went out, he encountered natives talking about a Du Zong's cave dwelling opportunity. As a normal person, he would naturally be curious and want to check out the powerful individuals of this world and the so-called Du Zong opportunity. Anyway, he's already so strong that no one in this northwest continent can defeat him. As a newcomer, what's wrong with watching these Du Wangs and Du Huangs fight? It's like playing, and he can also get his first pot of gold. That's why the protagonist, after arriving outside the cave dwelling, was still watching the Du Huangs peck at each other like weak chickens. Also, powerful individuals like to make their entrance last, enjoying the admiration of the world to show off. It's a very normal thing. Chapter 5. Strong Men Gather. Chapter 5. Experts gather within the imperial city of the Lan Shan Empire. Inside the palace, which was resplendent and magnificent, an elderly man with white hair sat on a golden, dragon-carved throne, while a young man below him was slowly recounting a tale. Could it be that you suspect that powerful individual might be a Du Wang? Yes, Lord. If he were only at the Du Ling level, it would be impossible for a mere instantaneous burst of aura to fill me with such fear. This young man was Feng Jing, and he was reporting the events he encountered that day to the Lord on the throne. The person on the throne was none other than Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, the Lan Shan Empire's peak Du Wang expert and its lord. At least a Du Wang level expert, you say. Did your junior sister and the others not get into a conflict with this expert? Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, asked Feng Jing. Feng Jing replied, "No, it's just that my second and third junior siblings spoke somewhat disrespectfully, but I stopped them." You handled that very well. Those two little rascals have grown accustomed to arrogance in the capital. They truly believe everyone fears their family. If they were to provoke a Du Wang expert, it would be a headache for their family. Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, stood up, patted Feng Jing's shoulder and said, "Since you mentioned the Du Zong's cave dwelling to that expert, he should be heading there these days, and I presume you will meet again then. All right, you should go back and rest as well. Also, tell your master that in the next 2 days, I will gather several major family powers within the capital to head there together." Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, spoke while walking with his hands behind his back. "Yes, Lord." Feng Jing clasped his hands and said before departing. Watching Feng Jing's retreating figure, Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, turned to look at the sky outside the imperial city and murmured, "What a troubled autumn this is." Because the Lan Shan Empire was located in the barren lands of the northwest region, Du Huangs were rare, and Du Wangs were the strongest. Every appearance of a Du Wang expert made it impossible for him not to take it seriously. 7 days later. Over these days, as news of the Du Zong's cave dwelling spread, many experts from within and beyond the Lan Shan Empire had already traveled to that location. And the Lan Shan Empire happened to be a necessary route to the edge of the Tianyin Mountain Range. Therefore, in the past 2 days, many outsiders had arrived in the empire, including our protagonist, Zai Tianxiao. When Zai Tianxiao left the Tianyin Mountain Range, he had packed all the resources from his secluded cave dwelling and had arrived in the Lan Shan Empire several days ago. However, he had been sightseeing all these days and had not yet gone to the cave dwelling, inside a city tavern. "Waiter, bring me all your best dishes," Zai Tianxiao called out. He had never tasted the food of the Fighting Kai continent before, and today he wanted to savor it properly. As for why he hadn't gone to the Du Zong's cave dwelling earlier to collect the resources inside, it was because he wanted to wait for all the major powers in the vicinity to arrive there first. Once they had fought enough amongst themselves, it would be easier for him to act. Otherwise, as a half-saint expert, he would have long since taken everything from the Du Zong's cave dwelling, leaving nothing for these powers. "All right, sir, please wait a moment." Upon hearing that it was a big spender, the waiter smiled and quickly went to instruct the kitchen to prepare the dishes. Zai Tianxiao ate his meal while listening to the conversations around him. "Hey, have you heard? A Du Zong expert's cave dwelling has been discovered at the 500-li border between our Lan Shan Empire and the Tianyin Mountain Range," a man said to several men beside him. "Indeed, we haven't even heard of anyone becoming a Du Huang expert in our Lan Shan Empire, let alone a legendary Du Zong expert's cave dwelling." "That's right. Our lord even personally led the Fengyu sect and several major families of the imperial city to the cave dwelling a few days ago." "Really? When did that happen? You don't even know this. Could it be that your newly wedded wife has kept you locked in your room for days?" Sigh. The man heard this, chuckled awkwardly, and stopped speaking. Forget him. "This news has been circulating for half a month, and not only in our empire, many experts from other places have also arrived. A Du Zong expert's cave dwelling, who wouldn't be interested? If I could find a profound tier cultivation technique inside, that would be enough for me to live comfortably for a lifetime," a man exclaimed. "Oh, please, with you, a 2-star Du practitioner, you'd probably be eaten by magical beasts in the mountain range halfway there." Ha 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 ha. The people in the tavern chatted back and forth, happily discussing the events of the past few days. Hearing this, Zai Tianxiao thought to himself, "It seems it's time to set off. My wait these past few days wasn't in vain. Waiter, payment." After saying this, Zai Tianxiao tossed a few gold coins onto the table, then vanished from the tavern in a flash, leaving only the bewildered waiter to collect the money. 500 lie from the intersection of the Tianyin Mountain Range's outer perimeter and the northern border of the Lan Shan Empire. A large group of people, divided into two factions, was gathered outside the Du Zong's cave dwelling, confronting each other. 9 figures also stood in the sky, their Du Kai condensed into wings, making them particularly conspicuous. Because the Lan Shan Empire had 5 Du Wangs, the external rogue cultivators and other regional powers had formed an alliance. This alliance was led by the 4 Du Wangs in the sky to contend against the people of the Lan Shan Empire. Below the Du Wangs, the Du Lings, great Du Masters, Du Shi's battle masters, and some scattered Du Zhe's battle masters, on the ground nervously watched the 9 figures with Du Kai-formed wings in the sky. Everyone, this Du Zong's cave dwelling is located within the territory of my Lan Shan Empire, and therefore, the Lan Shan Empire should have the final say. A middle-aged man with fiery red Du Kai wings spoke to the 4 Du Wangs directly in front of him. The middle-aged man, named Wang Hui, was the patriarch of the Wang family, one of the Chu and Wang families, apart from the imperial family and the Feng Yu sect in the Lan Shan Empire. The 2 major families of the empire and the Feng Yu sect were all loyal to the imperial family, and there was no relationship of mutual checks and balances. Among them were 1 Du Wang from each of the 2 major families, and 1 Du Wang expert dispatched by the Feng Yu sect. Adding to that the peak Du Wang lord and a 4-star Du Wang from the imperial family, he believed that if everyone attacked together, they could definitely defeat these 4 Du Wangs. Your territory, opportunities and treasures naturally belong to the capable. Your argument is only fit for deceiving those ignorant young lads. The leading Du Wang with blue wings on his back said coldly. He was the strongest among the 4 Du Wangs, named Yan Mao, possessing the strength of a 9-star Du Wang, and was also a hegemon in another small country. Upon hearing that a Du Zong's cave dwelling had been discovered in the Lan Shan Empire's mountain range, he traveled thousands of miles to investigate. Chapter 6. War Begins. Chapter 6. War Begins. Yan Mao believed that as long as he obtained the resources from this Du Zong's cave dwelling, he would have the confidence to break through directly to Du Huang. So, relying on his strength as a 9-star Du Wang, he united with several other Du Wangs and various rogue cultivators' small forces who had arrived, forming a temporary alliance to contend with the people of the Lan Shan Empire. Brother Yan is right, you should reconsider your words. A 6-star Du Wang beside Yan Mao said indifferently. This 6-star Du Wang was named Mo Kun, the leader of a certain force, and he also possessed a 5th-tier beast flame. His fire control techniques were renowned within a 100-mile radius. It seems we can only speak with strength. The head of the Wang family said in a deep voice, looking at Lan Kang Mountain, who was in deep thought beside him after hearing the words of Yan Mao and Mo Kun, the 2 Du Wangs. Damn it, stop dawdling. If we can't agree, then let me old man Chu have a go at you. The head of the Chu family said this, extending his hands to condense a large crimson saber. The head of the Chu family, Chu Zhengsheng, was a 5-star Du Wang known for his fiery temper. He disliked procrastination and empty talk. Wait, an old, strong hand blocked his path. The owner of these hands was none other than the emperor of the Lan Shan Empire, Lan Kangsheng, emperor of Lan Shan Empire. I know that behind each of you are formidable forces. My empire also does not wish to become enemies with the forces behind you. Therefore, regarding the items in the Du Zong's cave dwelling, on behalf of the empire, I am willing to concede 40%. Consider it compensation for your long journey and efforts, Lan Kang Mountain said after a long period of contemplation. This proposal was the best outcome Lan Kangsheng, emperor of Lan Shan Empire, could devise, considering the forces behind these Du Wangs. As the ruler of a nation, he did not wish for the empire to lose too much of its foundation due to conflict. He also understood that they could not possibly swallow all the treasures from this Du Zong's cave dwelling, and who knew if there were other powerful individuals secretly watching from the sidelines. Only 40%. Impossible. We demand at least 70%, and we must be the first to enter and choose. Otherwise, I won't be able to report back to the Du Huang Lord. A thin, sinister-looking Du Wang to the left behind Yan Mao shouted. The sinister-looking Du Wang was the only rogue cultivator among the 4 Du Wangs, and also the weakest in cultivation. Besides the 9-star Du Wang Yan Mao, the remaining 2 Du Wangs were 5-star and 6-star. He himself only possessed the strength of a 2-star Du Wang, usually making a living by robbing and plundering, trafficking people, and bullying small families. He didn't actually know any Du Huang experts, but that didn't stop him from using the pretense of a Du Huang to bluff. Indeed, a deceased Du Zong doesn't leave behind many treasures. If you only give us 40%, then there's no point in such a large group of us coming here. The last of the 4, a man with a covered face and wearing a light green robe, sneered. The Du Wang lords are right. People of the Lan Shan Empire, besides the lords in the sky, our large group also needs a share. Exactly. And our share too. With the Du Wangs in the sky backing them, some rogue cultivators and small forces on the ground also spoke up. Looking at the group below the alliance, the green-robed man's sneering expression flashed across his face. His name was Yan Ming, a guest elder of a major sect. He had traveled thousands of miles this time simply to achieve a breakthrough in his stagnant strength. He wouldn't consider the ants on the ground, but he had to include the people below out of respect for the alliance's reputation. Moreover, 40% was indeed too little. If divided among their few Du Wangs, each would only get 10%, which was hardly useful. What a joke. This place was discovered by our Lan Shan Empire first, and the news you received was also spread by our Lan Shan Empire. Giving you 40% is already showing respect for you as Du Wangs. The head of the Chu family immediately scoffed. At this moment, the sect master of the Feng Yu sect, who was nearby, also stepped forward and said, "Old Xing is right, don't be too greedy. As for your claim of being unable to report back, if you truly had Du Huang experts, they would have appeared to seize it long ago. If the other party truly had Du Huang-level experts, would they still be here confronting them? Whether there's a Du Huang or not, that's hard to say." Seeing that he hadn't bluffed the other party, the sinister-looking Du Wang merely gave a malicious smile and said nothing more. "Further words are useless. How dare you threaten us? Emperor, let's go straight to war," the head of the Wang family, from one of the 2 major families in the capital, said in a deep voice. Meanwhile, Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, frowned deeply, seemingly pondering the gains and losses. At this moment, the distant void slowly rippled, and a black-clad man with a cold, handsome, charming face exuding a kingly aura appeared below. This man was Zai Tianxiao. Perfect timing. Oh, that person is among them. It seems that's the force of the Lan Shan Empire. Zai Tianxiao, who had just arrived, spotted a few familiar figures in the crowd. The familiar person Zai Tianxiao referred to was the junior he had met earlier in the Tianyin Mountain Range, who was called Second Senior Brother. However, at this moment, he was being protected by his own elders, nervously watching the 9 Du Wangs confronting each other in the sky. After Zai Tianxiao swept his gaze over the group in the distance, he was slightly surprised. Interesting, 3 Du Huangs are hidden in the dark. It seems it's a case of the snipe and the clam fighting, with the fisherman profiting. However, one of the Du Huangs has a relatively weakened vital essence and is within the crowd of the Lan Shan Empire. He must be the Lan Shan Empire's hidden foundation, and at this moment, the powerful individuals led by Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire on one side, were all staring intently at the 4 Du Wangs before them. With just a command from Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, they would instantly act to seize the initiative. A moment later, after a period of silence, Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, spoke. "Your appetites are a bit too large. Since you insist, then I will have to make you all stay." His expression was not good because the other party demanded 70% of the resources right from the start. What was this? Did they think their 5 Du Wangs were made of mud? If the other party had truly brought several Du Huang experts, then it would be one thing. But they were all Du Wang's, so why should they give them 70% of the treasures? He could concede 40% of the resources to avoid harming the empire's foundation, but that did not mean he feared the other party. Even if the other party truly had the Du Huangs they spoke of behind them, he was not afraid. Because this grand opportunity of the Du Zong's cave dwelling was so significant, he had even summoned the Lan Shan Empire's only Du Huang, the previous supreme elder who was in a death seclusion, precisely to deal with any unexpected situations. Chapter 7. The King's Fight. Chapter 7. Kings in Contention Attack. Lan Kang Mountain let out a cold shout. Instantly, the calm sky erupted with an explosion of energy. Chu Zhengsheng, already impatient, surged with Du Kai battle energy, brandishing his crimson great saber and shooting towards the three Du Masters. Immediately after, the remaining three Du Masters from the Lan Shan Empire also condensed Du techniques in their hands and charged forward, following Chu Zhengsheng. Leave us behind. Don't think that just because you have one more Du Master than us, you can take us for granted. Yan Mao's thoughts stirred, and a flame shot out from his body, instantly condensing into a giant dragon. The dragon opened its mouth, spewing scorching fireballs towards Lan Kang Mountain and the other four. The remaining Du Masters, seeing Yan Mao make his move, also unleashed their Du techniques. In an instant, 9 Du Master experts clashed in the sky, whoosh, mountain-splitting fist, blood demon strike, swoosh, cloud-piercing step, wind blade, strength of the giant stone, boom. The air exploded, and energy scattered in all directions, as the terrifying aura caused by the energy collisions occasionally emanated from the sky. Everyone on the ground gazed at the battle above with faces full of shock. The occasional ripples of residual energy released during the fight made everyone present tremble. This is the first time I've seen so many Du Master experts fighting together. It's truly terrifying. Indeed, even if I gain nothing in the end, this trip will have been worth it. Some second- and third-rate factions from various empires exclaimed with emotion. Their strength was generally not high, so seeing such a large-scale Du Master battle was an eye-opening experience for them. I'm afraid that the residual energy from their battle could severely injure anyone below the Du Master level if they're not careful. An elder from the Wang family said, clicking his tongue. The patriarch of their Wang family was one of the Du Masters fighting above. Although his strength was that of a 5-star Du Ling, he still dared not get too close to a battle involving so many Du Masters. Perhaps this was the so-called all-below Du Master or ants. Die. With a loud bang in the sky, a Du Master was violently smashed to the ground, sending stone fragments flying everywhere and filling the air with dust. Looking at Lan Kang Mountain, who he had struck down, Yan Mao's face showed a smile. Lan Shan Country Lord, it seems I am still a cut above you. Country Lord, seeing Lan Kang Sheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire struck to the ground, the group below cried out. Cough, cough, crimson blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. I'm fine, just make sure to protect the juniors. Saying this, Lan Kang Sheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, looked gravely at the 9-star Du Master, Yan Mao. He had been careless. He hadn't expected the opponent's strength to be so strange. In a battle between his peak 9-star Du Master strength and the opponent's newly reached 9-star strength, he had actually fallen into a disadvantage. Now, take your people and retreat. When I come out of the cave, I can still consider leaving you 1/10 of the treasures. Yan Mao said indifferently. Years ago, Yan Mao had obtained a high-grade, profound-tier fire attribute cultivation technique. Within the same realm, as long as an opponent's strength didn't surpass his by too much, he could steadily suppress them or even defeat them. This was his confidence. Young man, don't be too arrogant. We are both in the same realm. It's not yet certain who will win or lose. Lan Kang Sheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, said in a deep voice. He hadn't used his full strength yet. He had just been careless for a moment and allowed the opponent to exploit an opening. Moreover, his empire still had a Du Huang, Battle Emperor, level Grand Elder, who was currently hidden among the crowd below, which was also where his confidence lay. Is that so? Then let me see just how strong you, a peak 9-star Du Master, truly are. Yan Mao's face held a sneer, and his figure suddenly transformed into a black streak, charging fiercely towards Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire. HMPH, Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire let out a cold snort, and his entire body surged with power. Bang. Two Du Master-level Du Kai battle energy collided, producing a sound like thunder. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, several more Du Masters crashed to the ground. However, this time it wasn't just the Du Masters from the Lan Shan Empire. The Du Masters from the other side met the same fate. This sudden change caused Lan Kangsheng, Emperor of Lan Shan Empire, and Yan Mao, who were in battle, to change their expressions drastically. One must know that to simultaneously strike down so many Du Masters at once, it would require at least a Du Huang battle emperor. Who is it? Come out, you old man. The voice belonged to the Chu family patriarch. He had been fighting alongside several other Du Masters from his empire and was about to take down one of the opposing Du Masters when a hand suddenly appeared behind him, slamming him violently to the ground. The sudden turn of events startled everyone present. Ha 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 ha, everyone is fighting so hard. Why don't this old man come and distribute it for you all? An aged laugh suddenly resounded across the sky. Hearing this, everyone was stunned and quickly turned their gazes towards the sky. Where their sight landed, two figures appeared in midair. One of them was cloaked in a black robe, revealing half of his face. His black hair was disheveled, his face covered in wrinkles, and his eyes filled with intense killing intent. Behind him, a pair of gigantic blood-colored Du Kai battle energy wings exuded a terrifying pressure. The other person was burly, bare-chested, with a rugged face, and a pair of deep eyes that flickered with a cold glint. Behind him, there was also a pair of enormous earth attribute Du Kai battle energy wings. Everyone on the field looked at the two figures in the sky, whose wings were larger and more solid than those of a Du Master, and their faces showed expressions of shock. The two who had appeared scanned their surroundings, and then the black-robed old man spoke. The Du Zong's cave is fraught with danger. How about this old man and the barbarian emperor beside him explore it first? When we come out, we will divide half of the treasures we obtain among you all. What do you think? It's a Du Huang battle emperor. The Chu family patriarch's face instantly turned ugly upon hearing this voice. He had never expected two experts above the Du Master level to make a move. Those were Du Huang, battle emperor, experts. Such experts, let alone his Chu family, even the Lan Shan Empire might not have a Du Huang battle emperor level existence. Such an existence could completely sway the entire battle. Chapter 8, Du Huang Strongman. Chapter 8. Du Huang, Battle Emperor, strong exponent. The appearance of the two Du Huangs greatly astonished both the Lan Shan Empire below and the gathered rogue cultivators. Who are those two? They defeated 4 Du Wang's battle kings as soon as they appeared. Are you stupid? Didn't you see one of them call himself Barbarian Emperor? Hiss, it's actually a Du Huang battle emperor, strong exponent. No wonder the national master and the head of the Chu family are silent. A Du Huang battle emperor. I've lived most of my life in the empire and have never seen a Du Huang battle emperor, strong exponent. A Du Huang battle emperor, strong exponent is truly terrifying. The crowd below spoke, one after another. Barbarian emperor, standing beside the black-robed old man, sneered. Mere Du Wang's battle kings dare to covet a Du Zong's battle ancestor dwelling. You truly don't know what's good for you. With that, he flickered and appeared before the gloomy Du Wang battle king, his eyes flashing with cold light. Wouldn't you agree? So fast. Yan Mao was secretly startled, watching Barbarian Emperor suddenly appear before the gloomy Du Wang battle king. This speed. He's not a low-level Du Huang battle emperor. Lan Kang Mountain, on the other side, also murmured to himself. I never imagined such a large body could possess such speed. He's likely not an ordinary Du Huang battle emperor. The gloomy Du Wang battle king swallowed, his face pale, and he stammered, trembling. Yes, yes, both Lord Du Huang's battle emperors are considering us. We are eternally grateful. This humble one will wait here for both lords and absolutely will not disturb you. Hef, Barbarian Emperor snorted coldly and turned his gaze to Yan Mao and the other two Du Wang's battle kings. We have no objections. Mo Kun and Yan Ming, the two Du Wang's battle kings, said in unison, are they kidding? That's a Du Huang battle emperor, strong exponent with killing intent. Although Yan Ming's sect also has a Du Huang battle emperor, his sect is tens of thousands of miles away and cannot help him. Moreover, they are only mid-level Du Wang's battle kings. They would have to be tired of living to defy a Du Huang battle emperor, strong exponent. Feeling Barbarian Emperor's gaze filled with killing intent, Yan Mao tightened his grip, his expression shifting between light and shadow. Yes, Lord, please proceed as you wish. He hadn't expected to encounter a Du Huang battle emperor. If there was only one Du Huang battle emperor, with his abilities and the combined efforts of the other three Du Wang's battle kings, it would be no problem to contend with an ordinary Du Huang battle emperor. However, there were two Du Huang's battle emperors on the other side, and they didn't seem to be low-level ones. Ha, Barbarian Emperor, there's no need for that. My allocation plan is perfect and they won't have any objections, will they, the national master of the land Shan Empire? The black-robed old man laughed and turned to look at the national master of the land, Shan Empire below. The reason the black-robed old man was so reckless was that during his stealthy reconnaissance, he had already discovered that this so-called land Shan Empire had no Du Huang's battle emperors at all, and the strong exponents present were all Du Wang's battle kings, no match for him. A Du Huang battle emperor, hence he was extremely arrogant, troublesome. Looking at the black-robed old man in front, Lan Kang Mountain frowned, thinking, with the appearance of two Du Huang's battle emperors, the Du Wang's battle kings have no right to interfere. It seems I can only ask the Grand Elder to act. The reason he was unwilling to ask the Grand Elder to act was that the Grand Elder's lifespan was already running out, and due to his advanced age, his strength had greatly diminished. Every time he acted, it consumed his lifespan. Otherwise, he would have called out the Grand Elder long ago, and there would have been no need to negotiate with Yan Mao and those Du Wang's battle kings. Moreover, in these past days, he had originally thought that since the empire was located in a remote corner of the northwest, a Du Wang battle king was the limit. Even if a Du Huang battle emperor came to snatch it, he imagined that mobilizing over 80% of the empire's strong exponents would be enough to secure this Du Zong battle ancestor dwelling. Who would have thought that two unusual Du Huang battle emperor variables would emerge? You are going too far, the head of the Chu family, known for his fiery temper, who stood beside Lan Kang Mountain, finally couldn't hold back his anger and shouted. These two were only acting so recklessly because there were no Du Huang battle emperor, strong exponents in the field who could match them. Going too far, am I? With that, the black-robed old man waved his hand, and blood-red Dukai condensed into sharp thorns, instantly scattering towards the surrounding family disciples, rogue cultivators, and others. PFFT. PFFT. In an instant, the great Du masters, great battle masters present were all injured, spitting blood and retreating. The remaining Du Shi's battle masters and Du Zhe's battle masters, in just a short moment, suffered heavy casualties. Then the black-robed old man swooped down, instantly appearing before the head of the Chu family, and his pale hands directly gripped his neck, his 5 fingers tightening. The head of the Chu family's face was deathly pale, his mouth agape, and blood trickled from the corner of his lips. Old Xing, patriarch, you're courting death. Old scoundrel, let go of my father. Seeing this, the surrounding members of the Chu family were all filled with murderous intent and resentful gazes. HMPH, you don't know your place. You bunch of useless people, not even a mere Du Wang battle king. What if I kill you? The black-robed old man said disdainfully, then threw the head of the Chu family to the ground. He formed hand seals, and blood-colored Dukai surged from his palms, forming 2 ferocious giant snakes that were about to attack the members of the Chu family. You dare. Watching the members of the Chu family about to be swallowed by the ferocious giant snakes, Lankang Mountain's face changed drastically. He roared in anger, shouting loudly, "I ask the Grand Elder to act!" Boom. With a deafening roar, a massive shield condensed from Earth attribute Dukai appeared behind the members of the Chu family, blocking the charging ferocious giant snakes. Subsequently, an extremely powerful surge of energy burst forth from the giant shield, striking at the black-robed old man. Such powerful defense, sensing the powerful aura from behind him, the black-robed old man's face slightly changed, and he fiercely slapped out with his withered old hands. Bang tilde tilde, with a loud bang, the massive shield shattered, and a powerful wave of energy swept out in all directions. This caused everyone around whose strength was below Du Ling, battle spirit, to be forced back several steps by the impact of this energy wave. Oh, have they all made their move? The owner of this voice was none other than Zai Tianxiao, who had been hiding in the space for a long time. Zai Tianxiao yawned and said indifferently, "This is good too. I suppose there aren't any bigger fish left. This uninteresting battle, I should bring it to an end." Just as Zai Tianxiao was about to act, an aura from a distance made him frown. Why is there a Du Zong, battle ancestor, aura approaching from afar and so insidious? This feeling is Hall of Souls. According to Zai Tianxiao's guess, this Hall of Souls protector must have heard that a large number of strong exponents would gather here, so he came to harvest souls and incidentally check out this so-called Du Zong, battle ancestor, legacy dwelling. Interesting. It's getting more and more interesting. It seems this Hall of Souls protector also wants to be the fisherman, but it's a pity. I just wonder if he's the fisherman or the fish. Zai Tianxiao sneered, looking at the Hall of Souls protector hiding not far away without showing himself. He had, after all, stayed in this cold and lonely space for so long, and watched the show for so long, all for those meager gains. Was it easy for him? This mere Hall of Souls protector dares to snatch things from him. Isn't that like lighting a lantern in a toilet, or an old birthday star eating arsenic just courting death? Chapter 9, Soul Palace Duzong. Chapter 9, the Hall of Souls Duzong at the Lan Shan Empire. As the dust settled, a hunched, wrinkled old man appeared before everyone's eyes. The old man's eyes narrowed, and two sharp gleams shot out, like two keen blades piercing into everyone's hearts. Behind the old man, a pair of giant earth attribute wings condensed, and as they moved, they stirred up gusts of yellowish-brown air filling the surroundings. What is that? The four Du kings of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance were also drawn by the massive commotion, and when they saw the hunched old man, their eyes widened instantly. A Du Huang. I didn't expect these people from the Lan Shan Empire to have a Du Huang-level expert. The four Du kings' eyes showed a look of shock. Immediately, Yan Mao punched the ground, exclaiming angrily, "Damn it! If they had a Du Huang, why did they fight us for so long? Are they playing with us?" Yan Mao was deeply resentful. And the people of the Lan Shan Empire were also stunned, their faces showing a strong sense of disbelief. How had they never heard of such a Du Huang expert in the Lan Shan Empire? The old man's appearance drew all the royal family's gazes to him, their faces filled with reverence. "Greetings, Grand Elder," all the royal disciples shouted in unison. "Grand Elder. Hey, does anyone here know that Du Huang expert?" A junior from the Chu family asked, looking bewildered. "No, I don't." "Young Master, do you know?" The man referred to as Young Master shook his head. "That's a Du Huang expert. How could I possibly know?" Seeing the old man who appeared before them, the Chu family members were full of doubt and surprise. Only the Chu family's Grand Elder frowned, seemingly deep in thought. And looking at the suddenly appearing hunched old man, the Wang family head, standing not far away, transmitted a message to Lan Kang Mountain. "Lord, wasn't this person's lifespan exhausted and he passed away 100 years ago?" According to what Wang Hui, the Wang family head, knew, he had heard about this matter when he was young and hadn't yet become the family head. The old man had supposedly passed away many years ago and should have long since perished. How could he suddenly appear? "Old Wang, you also know that the Grand Elder's lifespan was nearing its end back then. He only barely extended his life by breaking through a small realm just before his death. Lan Kang Mountain said with a complicated expression, so that's how it is. I wondered how the Lan Shan Empire could have a Du Huang. Hearing this, Wang Hui suddenly understood. The empire and the sect families were originally of one mind. If a Du Huang expert had truly emerged, how could the leaders of these families not know? With that, Lan Kang Mountain also bowed slightly to the hunched old man in the arena. Grand Elder. The Grand Elder nodded faintly, his aged eyes looking at the black-robed old man. After a moment of silence, he spoke. Since your excellency is a Du Huang expert, why bother with these juniors? Hearing this, the black-robed old man burst into laughter. Ha 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 tilde, this old man is merely teaching some ignorant people a lesson and casually killing a few ants. That's right. A rough voice, imbued with Du Huang's aura, descended from the sky. The newcomer was none other than Barbarian Emperor, who had been alerted by the Du Huang aura from the black-robed old man's side and rushed over. Looking at the two Du Huangs before him, the Grand Elder frowned deeply. Very strong, unbeatable, although he knew before that these two were not ordinary Du Huangs, he didn't expect the oppressive feeling they gave him to be so much stronger at such close proximity. At least a 5-star Du Huang or above, the Grand Elder thought to himself. Although he possessed the cultivation of a 3-star Du Huang, due to his nearing end of life, he could only unleash about 2-star strength. Barbarian Emperor looked at the black-robed old man and nodded, saying with disdain, a group of ants wanting to covet the Duzong expert's cave-dwelling inheritance, simply overestimating yourselves. After saying that, he stomped his foot. Boom. With a sound, the ground cracked open, rumble. The royal family members only felt the world spin, their minds buzzing. Thud, thud. Thud. Subsequently, a series of thudding sounds rang out. Over 100 royal disciples were all knocked unconscious by Barbarian Emperor's single stomp, each with bruised faces, looking utterly disheveled. Seeing the scene before him, the Grand Elder's face turned ashen, his eyes flashing with anger and apprehension. What, want to make a move? Barbarian Emperor looked at the Grand Elder with contempt, saying, old man, you'd best think twice. With your 3-star Du Huang cultivation, do you dare to make a move? Hearing this, the Grand Elder, whose cultivation had been seen through at a glance, suppressed the anger in his heart. After glancing at the black-robed old man next to Barbarian Emperor, he smiled bitterly and said, this old man is no match for the two of you. The two of you are probably among the best of Du Huangs. I, on behalf of the Lan Shan Empire, withdraw from the Duzong expert's inheritance cave dwelling. There was no other way. With such strength, these two must be from a powerful external force, and his Lan Shan Empire could not afford to offend them. HMPH. At least you know your place. Barbarian Emperor looked arrogant and let out a cold snort. Lan Kang Mountain, take the Empire's people and follow this old man, the Grand Elder said to Lan Kang Mountain at the side. Yes. The black-robed old man at the side narrowed his eyes. It wasn't that he hadn't considered using their strength to keep everyone present, but it would easily make them a target of public criticism. A Du Huang and several Du Kings combined, though they weren't afraid, it would be somewhat troublesome. And the longer they dragged it out, if another Du Huang or several Du Kings appeared, it would be very disadvantageous for them. Meanwhile, on the other side, watching Lan Kang Mountain and the others about to leave, Yan Mao spoke faintly to the other 3 Du Kings. It's time to go. With Du Huangs involved, Du Kings simply aren't qualified to participate. After saying that, without waiting for the 3 Du Kings to speak, he condensed a fire attribute pair of wings behind him. With a leap, he flew high into the sky, heading into the distance. Yan Mao is gone. What else can we do? Those 2 Du Huangs are too terrifying and came with such momentum, not even putting the Du Huang of the Lan Shan Empire in their eyes. If we stay here, let alone getting a share, whether we can even keep our lives is a question, Mo Kun said with lingering fear. That's right. I truly didn't expect that in such a barren place, where even a single Du King is hard to come by, 3 Du Huangs would appear, Yan Ming exclaimed, while also condensing the wings on his back. He had come here secretly from his sect because he saw how barren this place was, believing that with his Du King strength, he could gain considerable benefits. Yet he hadn't expected two such powerful Du Huangs to emerge. Boom, a huge sound rang out. A figure was smashed dozens of meters to the ground, spitting out blood and falling unconscious. That's Yan Mao, who just left. How did he end up like this? Could it be another Du Huang? The three Du Kings looked at each other as if they had seen a ghost. What's going on? The huge sound also attracted the attention of Lan Kang Mountain and the others in the distance. This is, Barbarian Emperor and the black-robed old man also looked solemnly at the sky. Heh. At this moment, a sinister, eerie laugh emerged from the black mist in the sky, echoing like a crow's cry across the horizon. None of you will leave today. Just obediently become this protector's nourishment. Chapter 10 Appearance Chapter 10 Appearance Jai Jai. The black mist contracted and undulated, slowly condensing into a figure shrouded in black smoke. This figure was completely enveloped in dense black smoke, and a pair of eerie green pupils on a hideous, terrifying skull face stared at everyone below. Within those pitch-black pupils, an endless thirst for blood, cruelty, and madness seemed to be hidden. A suffocating sense of danger instantly permeated the entire space. At this moment, an extreme sense of unease welled up in everyone's hearts. The people of Lan Shan Empire, as well as the disciples of various rogue cultivator forces, all looked at the figure in the sky with horrified expressions. What is that thing? Is he human? So terrifying. His laugh is so unpleasant. The Grand Elder and the several Du Kings of Lan Kang Mountain looked at this scene, their faces showing wariness and apprehension. Looking at the figure above, the black-robed old man's pupils constricted as he asked, "What kind of monster is that?" "I don't know, but judging by his aura, he's at least a peak Du Huang or above." Barbarian Emperor's face was also grave as he spoke. Could it be? No, that's impossible. How could a living Du Zong expert appear in a place like this? The black-robed old man shook his head, dismissing this unrealistic guess, and spoke to the figure in the black smoke in the sky. "May I ask who you are, Your Excellency? Are you also here for the Du Zong's cave-dwelling inheritance?" "I am from the Black Blood sect, a first-rate force on the northwest continent, and also a fifth-grade alchemist. And this barbarian emperor beside me is an elder of our sect." The black-robed old man looked at the figure in the black smoke, stating his sect and identity. His meaning was clear. He wanted to tell the other party that his strength was formidable and they had best not act rashly. Jai Jai Jai. The figure in the black smoke let out a sinister and terrifying laugh. "Very good, a fifth-grade alchemist. This saint's name is Guardian Shu. As for this guardian's purpose, you don't need to know because today, you all must die." Immediately, Guardian Shu in the black smoke scanned the surroundings, a cruel arc forming at the corner of his mouth. A fifth-grade alchemist Du Huang plus two other Du Huangs and 9 Du Kings. This guardian hasn't waited this long in vain. Then, he released a powerful pressure dozens of times greater than that of the black-robed old man earlier. The pressure spread outwards. The black-robed old man's face changed drastically when he felt this heart-palpitating pressure. This is Du Zong pressure. Du Zong, a true Du Zong level expert. He came from a first-rate force and had witnessed a Du Zong's take action, attack/action. Such powerful pressure could only be wielded by a Du Zong level being. Trouble. Barbarian Emperor's face also looked grim. He had previously guessed that the opponent might be a powerful peak Du Huang or a half-step Du Zong, but he never expected it to be a true Du Zong expert. "Run," the Grand Elder at one side shouted, directly forming Du Kai wings and flying into the distance. But as soon as he flew out, he was pressed back to the ground by the powerful pressure, a trace of blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. Grand Elder, seeing this, the several Du Kings of Lan Kang Mountain in the arena changed their expressions. Just as they were about to condense Du Kai wings, they were directly forced to their knees. Ah, what's going on? As for everyone below the Du King level, they were directly pressed to the ground, spitting blood and unable to move. Damn it, how can there be such powerful strength? Yan Ming and the other Du Kings, who were further away, were also gasping for breath, sweat beading on their foreheads. When the black smoke figure released its pressure, Tendrils of black energy spread out from within the figure in the black mist, transforming into black chains. The black chains, like venomous snakes, flew towards the majority of the families and rogue cultivator disciples below. What are these things? Ah, 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 screams immediately erupted. Within just a few breaths, the screams of the rogue cultivators and family disciples below echoed through the sky. Hundreds of people were pierced through the chest by the venomous snakes, dying on the spot. Blood stained large patches of soil, a shocking sight. Is this the strength of a Du Zong? Truly terrifying, Barbarian Emperor muttered to himself, his face grim as he watched the scene before him. The black-robed old man also nodded, his face full of grimness as he said, "We are no match for him, and we can't escape either." He possessed the cultivation of a 6-star Du Huang, and Barbarian Emperor beside him was also a 7-star Du Huang, capable of even fighting a 9-star Du Huang with his powerful physique. But to a Du Zong expert, they were nothing more than slightly larger ants. The rogue cultivators who had fortunately survived were all stunned, and the Du Kings like Lan Kang Mountain were also pale-faced. What level of power was this? In just a few breaths, hundreds of people were killed, including many great Du Master and Du Ling level experts. These great Du Master and Du Ling level individuals were all elites of first-rate forces or empires. Such a group of elites was instantly killed without even the power to resist. Damn it. Seeing many of the imperial people die, Lan Kang Mountain and the other Du Kings were furious, but under the deterrence of the formidable pressure, they dared not make any rash moves. A Du Zong expert, the Grand Elder next to Lan Kang Mountain muttered in a daze. What? A legendary Du Zong expert. Grand Elder, are you sure? Lan Kang Mountain asked in surprise. Such terrifying power and pressure cannot be achieved by a Du Huang. The Grand Elder exhaled slowly and said, "How could this be? It's over, it's completely over." The other Du Kings were also terrified. This time, they had encountered a legendary expert, and this expert wanted to kill everyone present as soon as he arrived. Their lives were probably in danger. Jai Jai, the ants have been mostly dealt with. It's time to take care of you all. The black smoke figure's eyes shot out a chilling, killing intent as he looked at the Du Huangs and Du Kings below. Immediately, the black chains flew out again. Run. On the other side, seeing the chains flying rapidly towards them, Mo Kun roared. The 3 Du Kings quickly formed Du Kai wings, but before they could fly out, they were directly pierced through their bodies. Be careful. Seeing the 3 Du Kings whose bodies were pierced, the Grand Elder immediately warned them. Before Lan Kang Mountain and the others could react, the flying chains tightly wrapped around their necks, rendering them immobile. The Grand Elder, who was nearby, quickly circulated his earth attribute Du Kai to condense a giant shield, blocking the incoming chains. The chains crashed against the giant shield. Bang! The giant shield exploded, blasting him away. He continuously spat out several mouthfuls of blood in the air before crashing to the ground, his life unknown. Barbarian Emperor and the black-robed old man also simultaneously attacked as they watched the incoming chains. Powerful Du Kai slammed into the black chains, breaking all of them. Unfortunately, although the two managed to break the black chains, they could not prevent them from continuing to grow and entangle around their bodies. The black chains became tighter and tighter. Damn it, how could this be? Barbarian Emperor and the black-robed old man's faces were extremely grim. Jai Jai Jai, Guardian Shu laughed coldly. Although you two are much stronger than them, to this Guardian, you are just slightly larger ants. A 5th-grade alchemist, what an unexpected gain. Guardian Shu hadn't expected such a small place to have a Du Zong's inheritance site, and even attract several Du Huangs and a 5th-grade alchemist. Now, with the souls of so many experts, his mission in the Hall of Souls could be said to be quite satisfactory. Perhaps he might even receive guidance from the Hall Master and be promoted from a human-level guardian to an earth-level guardian, which would greatly elevate his status in the Hall of Souls. Thinking of this, Guardian Shu's face showed excitement. This saint also has an unexpected gain. Suddenly, a voice resounded through the sky, interrupting Guardian Shu's beautiful dream. I didn't expect a small land Shan empire to make a Hall of Souls guardian take action. What a surprise. But it's good. It's not in vain for this saint to have waited so long in that void. Only a few extremely indifferent voices were heard coming from all directions. Wherever the voices passed, all the chains that Guardian Shu had used to bind everyone were shattered, turning into dust and disappearing. Lord, we are saved. Seeing the chains wrapped around their necks shattered, the two kings of Lan Shan Empire trembled with excitement. I just don't know if they are friend or foe. Lan Kang Mountain's face also showed a look of relief. The black-robed old man and barbarian emperor on the side also fell to the ground, covered in blood, gasping for breath, terrifying. Utterly terrifying. Just a voice made the chains that everyone was helpless against directly disappear. It was so absurd, it was like absurdity's mother opened the door for absurdity. Utterly absurd. Rumble. In the sky, dark clouds suddenly rolled, and a terrifying aura emanated from above. Then space slowly twisted, and to the astonished gaze of Guardian Shu and the others, a black-clad figure appeared in the sky above. The figure stood with his hands behind his back, treading on the void, and looked indifferently at Guardian Shu. You are Guardian Shu, right? Have you prepared enough treasures to buy your life? Chapter 11. Peerless Expert, who are you? If you've heard of the Hall of Souls, then please don't interfere with this Guardian's actions. Looking at Zai Tianxiao, who stood in the air before him, Guardian Shu's expression changed, then his brows furrowed as he said in a deep voice, unstoppable. He possessed the strength of a two-star Du Zong, yet this person had emerged from the void. And a single sound had shattered his chains, indicating that this person's strength was at least that of a high-level Du Zong or above. As for the opponent's self-proclaimed this saint, he hadn't thought much of it, merely assuming it was some strange self-appellation the opponent had come up with. Your business. You're mistaken. I wouldn't bother with your messy affairs. It just so happens that you jumped out yourself. Zai Tianxiao cast a cold glance at Guardian Shu, then said coldly, As for my name, you are not worthy to know it. Guardian Shu was secretly enraged upon hearing this, but due to the opponent's strength, he dared not act rashly. He could only suppress his anger, his face grim as he said, regardless of your purpose, I implore you not to interfere with the Hall of Souls matters. Otherwise, even with your high-level Du Zong strength, you won't gain any advantage. Guardian Shu was no match for Zai Tianxiao, so he could only invoke the name of the Hall of Souls to make the other party reconsider and not meddle in his affairs. Although Guardian Shu was only a human-level guardian overseeing small regions like the Lan Shan Empire. The Hall of Souls had many Du Zong-level guardians. Even his branch hall had several heaven-level guardians, and above the guardians were Elder Zuns who commanded an entire hall. High-level Du Zong, ha-ha-ha. Utterly ridiculous, Zai Tianxiao sneered, glancing at Guardian Shu and mocked. It's normal for a low-sighted waste like you to think I'm still at the Du Zong realm. This guardian admits I am not your opponent. Since you are so arrogant, after this matter, you will face the endless pursuit of my Hall of Souls. Hearing Zai Tianxiao mock him so, Guardian Shu's face was extremely unsightly, and he secretly sighed at his own bad luck. In such a barren place, for a Du Zong's cave mansion, his appearance was already absurd, but he hadn't expected an even more absurd one to appear. Was this reasonable? Pursuit. A mere two-star Du Zong dares to use the Hall of Souls to pressure this saint, seeking death. As he spoke, a cold glint flashed in Zai Tianxiao's eyes and he pointed a single finger forward. Whoosh. Zai Tianxiao's finger seemed to pierce through the air, pointing directly at Guardian Shu's chest with a speed that left him no time to react. Ah, Guardian Shu let out a cry. He felt as if his heart had been violently struck by a giant hammer, causing extreme pain. Then, Zai Tianxiao's finger slashed downwards, and Guardian Shu felt his body being impacted as if by a meteorite. He was sent flying backwards several hundred meters, crashing heavily to the ground, creating a massive crater, defeating the enemy with one finger. In the deep pit, Guardian Shu knelt prostrate on the ground, black blood streaming from his body, looking utterly disheveled. Watching a Du Zong expert, whom they had been powerless against, be defeated and pinned to the ground by just one finger. Everyone in the field was dumbfounded, their eyes wide, their faces filled with shock as if time had stopped. Hey, did you see that? It can't be real. That monster, who even a Du Huang expert couldn't defeat, has been defeated. The remaining disciples and rogue cultivators in the field were all intensely discussing the scene that had just unfolded before their eyes. Gulp. My heavens, is that still a Du Zong expert? The awakened Du Kings also swallowed their saliva and said, what level is this? Even the legendary Du Zong was suppressed by a single finger. The Grand Elder, who had regained consciousness after being defeated by the chains, looked bewildered and said, I truly didn't expect such a powerful person to come to this Du Zong cave mansion. Could this cave mansion be hiding some secret? Lan Kang Mountain, who was beside him, also sighed. Lan Kang Mountain had originally thought that since this Du Zong cave mansion was in a remote area, even if powerful individuals came, they would at most be Du King level. Even if by some fluke one or two ordinary Du Huang experts appeared, he thought that with so many Du Kings and the Du Huang Grand Elder, they would be able to get a share. But he hadn't expected the situation to turn out like this, with powerful individuals emerging one after another, and all of them beyond their ability to defeat. Their luck was truly unparalleled. On the other side, the severely injured black-robed old man was also in disbelief at this sudden change. What kind of strength is this? Even a Du Zong couldn't withstand a single finger. Barbarian Emperor covered his bleeding chest with his hand and said with lingering fear, I'm not sure, but he must be at least a peerless expert among Du Zongs. At this, everyone's hearts were stirred by colossal waves, and their gazes towards Zai Tianxiao changed again and again. Not bad, not bad. I still prefer you like this. After all, this truly matches your neither human nor ghost appearance. Looking at Guardian Shu, who had been struck down by him, Zai Tianxiao nodded in satisfaction. Cough, cough. How is this possible? My two-star Du Zong strength couldn't even withstand one of your fingers. You, just who are you? Guardian Shu coughed up 2 mouthfuls of blood, his face filled with horror and unwillingness. Who am I? Zai Tianxiao stroked his chin, then stepped through the air, appearing before Guardian Shu and saying disdainfully, I told you, you're not worthy to know. But I can tell you, let alone a mere Du Zong, even if a celestial Zun of the Hall of Souls came, he wouldn't dare to threaten this saint like this. Celestial Zun. Upon hearing Zai Tianxiao mention the Hall of Souls Celestial Zun, Guardian Shu was stunned for a moment, then an expression of terror appeared on his face. As a guardian of the Hall of Souls, how could he not know about the Hall of Souls Celestial Zun? Even in remote branch halls, there would be Elder Zuns, and every Elder Zun was a Du Zun expert. Only Du Zun experts who ranked at the absolute pinnacle had the possibility of becoming a Hall of Souls Celestial Zun. And this person before him, who not only knew about the Hall of Souls Celestial Zun, but also dared to be so presumptuous, his strength was likely that of a top-tier expert at the Du Zun realm. Such an expert, regardless of whether what he said was true or false, was not someone a Hall of Souls guardian could offend. He wasn't foolish. Recalling the methods the other party had used earlier, and his disdain for being called a high-level Du Zong, Guardian Shu became even more certain of the thoughts in his mind. At this thought, Guardian Shu couldn't help but shiver, and with a terrified expression, he begged for mercy. Du Zun Lord, please spare my life. I am willing to serve you, I only ask that you let me off this time. Of course, this was merely Guardian Shu's temporary measure. If he could survive this time, he would definitely report this matter to the Hall Master and have the Hall Master capture Zai Tianxiao. It seems you've understood something. Zai Tianxiao narrowed his eyes, speaking indifferently. It was I who failed to recognize Du Zun Lord. Please, I beg you, spare me this once. Guardian Shu immediately pleaded. Guardian Shu was filled with immense regret. If he had known he would encounter such a terrifying existence, he would absolutely not have come to this Du Zong cave mansion. Additionally, Guardian Shu believed that Zai Tianxiao's presence here was certainly to seek some rare treasure. After all, the inherited cave mansion of a deceased Du Zong was not worth such a powerful individual making a special trip for. It's not that I don't want to write about the protagonist acting high profile as a saint. I also find it uncomfortable to watch him pretend to be weak. It's just that, how can a 2-star Du Zong recognize a Du saint? That's a figure of legend, and people from these small places wouldn't understand. It would also attract the attention of the Hall of Souls, which isn't good for the protagonist's development, but you can also consider it a flaw. And our protagonist merely doesn't pay attention to the ordinary celestial Zuns of the Hall of Souls. The Grand Heavenly Lord, Second Celestial Zun, and Third Celestial Zun still need to be considered. However, this is limited to the half-saint stage. Once the protagonist reaches Du Saint and can open up space, he can be more unrestrained. Chapter 12. Good Man Senior Chapter 12. A very good senior looking at Guardian Shu, who was prostrate before him, Zai Tianxiao said, "It's a pity you guessed wrong, but that's not important. What's important is..." Guessed wrong. Guardian Shu was stunned, not understanding the meaning of his words. Zai Tianxiao didn't waste any more words. Instead, he looked up at the crowd around him, who were already frozen in place. Feeling the immense pressure from Zai Tianxiao's gaze, everyone shivered, feeling uneasy and fearing that Zai Tianxiao could destroy them with a single finger. Just as everyone thought Zai Tianxiao was about to do something, they heard him slowly speak in a cold voice. "Everyone, hand over all the storage rings in your hands. Consider it my hard-earned fee for saving you. You don't have any objections, do you?" As soon as Zai Tianxiao finished speaking, everyone felt as if a great mountain was pressing down on their bodies, and they stood rigidly in place. No objections. Senior is joking. Without Senior's intervention, we would have been killed here long ago. How could we still be alive in this world? That's right. Senior is truly a good person. The battle kings of the Empire and the rogue cultivators all shook their heads. Although they found it strange that someone as powerful as Zai Tianxiao would even care about their belongings, they all quickly took out their storage rings and other treasures, respectfully holding them in their hands, not daring to show the slightest hesitation. Are you kidding? Didn't you see the miserable Guardian Shu lying on the ground? Let alone Zai Tianxiao saving them incidentally. Even if he had directly robbed them, they wouldn't have had any objections. Bowing to the strong is not shameful. Seeing all this, Zai Tianxiao waved his hand, and all the storage rings and valuable items were collected by him. Then he nodded in satisfaction and said indifferently to the black-robed old man and barbarian emperor on the other side, "You two wouldn't make me, who worked so hard, come all this way for nothing, would you?" Barbarian emperor and the black-robed old man broke out in a cold sweat upon hearing this and quickly said, "How dare we, Junior? We are truly terrified." It's just that witnessing Senior's actions, we are filled with admiration and wish to invite Senior to be a guest at our sect, just to show our humble respect. Immediately, Barbarian Emperor and the black-robed old man each pulled out 3 storage rings from their robes and handed them to Zai Tianxiao, respectfully saying, "These contain all of our wealth. Please accept them, Senior." Barbarian Emperor and the black-robed old man felt a pang of heartache. This was all their income from so many years, and handing it over like this was truly painful. But heartache aside, Zai Tianxiao not directly killing them was already a huge stroke of luck. Zai Tianxiao took the storage rings, scanned them, nodded in satisfaction, put them into his robes, and said, "I've accepted the items. As for your sect, I still have many things to do." Understood, Senior's cultivation is peerless, a peerless cultivation that we cannot fathom. The black-robed old man hastily flattered him. All right. Zai Tianxiao was too lazy to listen to his flattery and simply waved his hand. "Yes, we shall take our leave." Barbarian Emperor and the black-robed old man bowed and cupped their fists. Then they transformed their Du Kai into wings and flew into the distance. Zai Tianxiao had no intention of killing the two of them. A person should have principles. Although it would only take a flick of his finger, he wasn't a mindless killer. These two hadn't provoked him, and they had given him 6 storage rings filled with cultivation resources. It was reasonable, and there was no need to kill them. As for the cultivators who died at their hands, what did that have to do with him? They weren't anyone to Zai Tianxiao. to become a powerful being, who didn't rise to power by stepping over the corpses of others in this world where the strong prey on the weak. From the day you begin cultivating and become a cultivator, your hands are destined to be stained with countless blood. Zai Tianxiao waved his hand and looked at Lan Kang Mountain and the other battle kings, saying, "You too, don't even think about the Du Zong's cave inheritance. Leave." Seeing Zai Tianxiao address him, Lan Kang Mountain, who had come to his senses, was the first to speak. Lan Kang Mountain thanks Senior for saving his life. That's right, that's right. If not for Senior, we would have been finished. The other battle kings also quickly bowed and saluted, respectfully thanking Zai Tianxiao. It's nothing. Speaking of which, I've met a few juniors from your empire before. One of them left quite a good impression on me. Zai Tianxiao was silent for a moment, seemingly recalling something, then looked at Lan Kang Mountain and said. Hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, Lan Kang Mountain paused slightly and asked in confusion, "May I ask who this fortunate junior senior speaks of is, to earn your praise?" Lan Kang Mountain and the others were also very curious. After all, someone who could be praised by such a powerful expert, who could defeat a Du Zong with just one finger, must be truly outstanding. Around 20 years old, 4 people in total. I heard the other 3 call him senior brother. Zai Tianxiao thought for a moment before replying, "What?" "It's actually nephew Feng Jing. What a pity nephew Feng Jing didn't come here. Congratulations, Sect Master Feng. Your Feng Yu sect has truly produced a young talent with exceptional aptitude to be regarded so highly by Senior." Upon hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, the shock on the faces of the battle kings and others intensified. They were all filled with envy. Oh no, it's his good fortune to be favored by Senior. Hearing this flattery, the sect master of Feng Yu sect was overjoyed in his heart, but spoke humbly. Lan Kang Mountain was even more startled, saying, "So that's it. The mysterious expert nephew Feng Jing reported to me that day was actually Senior." Lan Kang Mountain was deeply shocked. He had previously thought that Feng Jing had encountered a battle king expert. He never expected it to be this super-powerful expert, whose strength seemed as unfathomable as a bottomless pit. This left him speechless for a moment, with only shock in his heart. Meanwhile, on the other side, a white-robed man, known as the Young Master, a disciple of a family not far from Lan Kang Mountain and the other battle kings, was also startled upon hearing Zai Tianxiao's words. He thought to himself, he actually still remembers us. Thankfully, I listened to Senior Brother that day and didn't mock him again, otherwise, I would probably be a corpse by now. But Senior Brother's luck is truly good, to be praised by such a powerful expert. It's incredible. The white-robed man had actually recognized Zai Tianxiao long ago, but upon seeing the other party possess such immense power, and recalling his earlier disrespectful remarks that offended Zai Tianxiao, he had been hiding in the crowd, fearing that Zai Tianxiao would notice him and settle the score. And now, whenever he thought about how he had previously mocked Zai Tianxiao for not even knowing how to transform his Dukai into wings, he felt so ashamed that he wished he could dig a hole and crawl into it. Who? Taking a long breath, the white-robed man couldn't help but wipe the cold sweat from his forehead, muttering, "No, when I go back this time, I must tell my junior sisters not to be deceived by appearances, otherwise we will be the ones who suffer in the end." Offending such a powerful expert, let alone his father coming, even the entire empire would be overturned by him. This white-robed man was none other than the second senior brother from the 4-person team Zai Tianxiao had met a few days ago, and also the son of the Lan Shan Empire's Chu family patriarch. Originally, a core junior of a family like him shouldn't have been here, but because of his junior sister's matter, he had inexplicably pleaded with his father to let him participate in this opportunity to enter the Du Zong's cave. However, he never expected this journey to be so perilous, with powerful experts emerging one after another, and finally, such an outrageous one appeared. He almost lost his life. All right, let's not chat any longer. Go back. Looking at the unusually excited battle kings, Zai Tianxiao was too lazy to continue dealing with Lan Kang Mountain and the others. He waved his sleeve, signaling them to leave. Yes, gather the family members. We're returning to the empire. Understood, Lord of the Nation. Seeing Zai Tianxiao's bored expression, Lan Kang Mountain and the others hastily bid him farewell, then led their respective family disciples away into the distance. The remaining rogue cultivators, seeing Lan Kang Mountain and the others leave, also quickly dispersed in all directions. As for the Du Zong's cave this time, how could they still harbor any thoughts of it? It was already a great fortune to have escaped with their lives. Chapter 13, System Reappearance. Chapter 13. The system reappears looking at the departing crowd. Zai Tianxiao sighed. Such is the power of a strong individual. Just one sentence from him could excite Lan Kang Mountain and other Du kings for half a day. If, when he transmigrated, he had merged with an ordinary Du practitioner, it would be unknown if he would even be alive now, let alone meet Du kings like Lan Kang Mountain. Then, Zai Tianxiao lifted Guardian Shu from the ground with one hand and said playfully, "My apologies, I was so busy talking to them that I forgot about you. If you have any last pleas, speak them quickly. Perhaps this saint might spare you." Ding, as soon as Zai Tianxiao finished speaking, an electronic synthesized voice rang out, detected a special life form. Do you wish to devour it? A screen appeared before Zai Tianxiao, displaying a line of large characters. Seeing the sudden system prompt, Zai Tianxiao was greatly surprised and thought, strange, the system hasn't reacted for so long, why would it suddenly give a prompt now? There are no exotic flames around and it's a special life form. Wait, the system's prompt appeared after I touched Guardian Shu. Could it be? While Zai Tianxiao was thinking, Guardian Shu, whose face was pale, said in fear, "Elder Zun, your cultivation is heaven-reaching. It is my unforgivable sin to have offended you. But, Elder Zun, you may not know that all members of the Hall of Souls have their own soul card. Once one dies, the Hall Master will know, and even with your strength, you will face great trouble." Listening to Guardian Shu's words, Zai Tianxiao temporarily suppressed the shock in his heart and did not touch the system's prompt. Instead, he regained his composure and nodded, saying, "You are right. This saint knows that Hall of Souls members have such things as soul card, but I don't understand which soul division hall your soul card belongs to." When Guardian Shu heard Zai Tianxiao clearly mention the Hall of Souls member's soul card and ask which soul division hall he belonged to, he thought Zai Tianxiao was afraid of trouble and didn't want to offend the Hall of Souls because of his death. He immediately breathed a sigh of relief and replied, "Thank you, Elder Zun, for sparing my life. The Soul Division Hall I belong to is located 6,000 miles south of the Tianyin Mountain Range in a forest called Burial Soul Gully. Because it borders several small countries, this junior is also the guardian responsible for this area. So that's how it is, not far from here." Zai Tianxiao nodded secretly, then glanced at Guardian Shu and said coldly, "I think you've misunderstood something. This saint merely wanted to ask for the location of the Soul Division Hall. When did I say I wouldn't kill you? A mere Hall of Souls guardian dares to threaten him, Zai Tianxiao, with the Hall of Souls. He truly doesn't know what's good for him." "What?" Guardian Shu was shocked and urgently said, "Elder Zun, what do you mean by this?" "What do I mean?" Zai Tianxiao gave him a cold glance and said again, "Don't worry, the people from your Soul Division Hall will soon come down to accompany you. Furthermore, my title is not Elder Zun, but Devouring Owl." After whispering to Guardian Shu, and before he could react, Zai Tianxiao silently thought, "System, begin devouring." Ding, devouring in progress. Ah! A blood-curdling scream echoed through the sky. Guardian Shu's body rapidly shriveled before Zai Tianxiao. In just over 10 seconds, Guardian Shu turned to ash, leaving only a black robe that dissipated into the world. Ding, devouring complete. Who tilde finally, no one's around. Being a strong individual is truly tiring. One wrong move and you might break character. Zai Tianxiao exhaled a long breath, sighing to himself. Originally, Zai Tianxiao's purpose in coming here was just to acquire some free resources. He didn't want to directly offend the Hall of Souls. Although he had the strength of a half-saint, he was afraid that if he dealt with the small ones, bigger ones would come, one after another. What if a due saint was sent directly? He would be finished. However, man proposes, but the system disposes. Upon seeing the system's prompt interface appear, Zai Tianxiao changed his mind. Because after the system devoured Guardian Shu, it actually increased his soul power by a trace, which made him eager to go to that soul division hall and devour more guardians to try. Excellent, excellent. The system is truly amazing. It allowed my mortal realm peak soul to advance by a trace. This was only after the system devoured a Du Zong's guardian. If it devours Du Zun, or even Du Saint-level Hall of Souls members, wouldn't my soul realm directly enter the Emperor realm? A cultivator's soul realm is divided into mortal realm, spirit realm, heaven realm, and emperor realm, with each realm further divided into low, middle, high, and great perfection. Correspondingly, if one is an alchemist, those whose souls reach the spirit realm are qualified to refine 8th grade pills. Those who reach the heaven realm are qualified to refine 9th grade pills, and those who reach the emperor realm are qualified to refine emperor grade pills. An emperor realm soul can be comparable to an 8-star Du Saint. Most ordinary people have mortal realm souls. Even high-grade alchemists of the 6th or 7th rank possess mortal realm souls. Therefore, soul skills that can cultivate soul power are extremely precious. So, in the current fighting Kai continent, apart from some ancient records that describe methods for cultivating soul power, even some high-grade alchemists themselves are unsure how to cultivate their souls. But Zai Tianxiao can directly advance his soul power by devouring Hall of Souls members. Incredible, simply incredible. This is great. Although I'm not an alchemist, if I can raise my soul power to the Emperor realm, even an 8-star Du Saint expert will not be a threat to me. Zai Tianxiao clenched his fists, his eyes flashing with brilliance. But despite his excitement, Zai Tianxiao also felt a bit confused, saying, since the system can directly devour special life forms like Hall of Souls guardians, why didn't a prompt interface appear when I first discovered Guardian Shu? Also, this system is good, but it doesn't communicate with me. Every time it just gives a prompt interface and I have to guess. It's truly irresponsible towards me, a transmigrator. Despite saying that, Zai Tianxiao was still very satisfied with the system's reappearance. Forget it, I'm going to that soul division hall anyway. I'll see then. Thinking of this, Zai Tianxiao's mood lightened slightly. Oh, I almost forgot. I still need to enter this Du Zong's cave dwelling. I can't forget my original intention. Even a small mosquito is still meat. The things right in front of me cannot be left for others. With that, Zai Tianxiao's figure flickered, disappearing from his original spot. When he reappeared, he was already inside the Du Zong's cave dwelling that everyone was fighting over. Looking at the piles of gold coins and jewels, like small mountains, as well as the stacks of Du skills and boxes of pills, Zai Tianxiao's eyes lit up. Not bad, this many resources are much stronger than some Du Zong forces that my predecessor destroyed. Zai Tianxiao reached out and put all the piles of gold coins into his storage ring, smiling contentedly as he looked at the treasures. Oh, there are also a few Earth-tier Du skills and quite a few 7th grade pills. It seems he was also a high-grade alchemist. No wonder he was so rich. Zai Tianxiao's gaze swept over the piles of Du skills and pills, thinking to himself. After taking all the gold coins, jewels, and cultivation resources, Zai Tianxiao scanned his storage ring and said happily, this trip was truly worth it, not to mention the system increasing my soul power. There are 6 Earth-tier Du skills combined, nearly 100 profound-tier ones, and countless various pills. A satisfied Zai Tianxiao touched the storage ring in his hand, sighing in his heart. Speaking of which, Guardian Shu appeared at just the right time. If it weren't for his actions, how would I have known that the system could also devour Hall of Souls members to enhance soul power, and how would I have experienced the gratitude of the people of Lan Kang Mountain Empire? He's truly a good person. Although with Zai Tianxiao's strength, he didn't need to care about reputation. A good reputation earned for free is always better than people slandering you behind your back, isn't it? I've taken everything. It's time to leave. He. Hall of Souls, here I come. With that, Zai Tianxiao's figure vanished, leaving behind an empty Du Zong's cave dwelling. At the same time, 6,000 miles away in the Tianyin Mountain Range, deep within a forest called Burial Soul Gully. A Hall of Souls guardian was kneeling on a prayer mat, respectfully reporting to the Hall of Souls elder seated at the head of the table. Reporting to Elder Zun, Guardian Shu's soul card has shattered. According to the message Guardian Shu sent back before his death, that person is at least a Du Zun expert. Some people in the Hall of Souls are soul bodies, while others have flesh and blood. The original work didn't clarify this. I checked and couldn't find it, so I went with my own interpretation. Also, some readers said that a half-saint going after a Du Zong was too deliberately showy and not good. Now that I think about it, it's true, but it was already written, so there's nothing I can do. Next, I'll speed up the progress, quickly finish writing about things here, and then go to the Jia Ma Empire. Chapter 14, Soul Burial Valley. Chapter 14, Burial Soul Gully Du Zun. Upon hearing the Guardian's report, a sharp glint flashed in the Hall of Souls' Venerable One's eyes, and he said in a deep voice, "This is quite interesting. Where did Guardian Shu's life plate shatter?" Reporting to Elder Zun, judging by the direction Guardian Shu's life plate shattered, it was in the Tianyin Mountain Range, 6,000 li from here. Hearing the Hall of Souls' Venerable One's question, the Guardian standing below quickly replied, "Tianyin Mountain Range." Did Guardian Shu say what this Du Zun was called before he died? The Hall of Souls' Venerable One slowly narrowed his eyes and asked. The Hall of Souls Guardian lowered his head and said, "This." The life plate shattered too quickly. I only know the two words Shizayo. Shizayo. Upon hearing these two words, the Hall of Souls' Venerable One was slightly startled, then mused. There are only a few old immortals among the reclusive Du Zuns in the northwest continent. But none of them have the title Shizayo. He must be a newly promoted Du Zun. His Hall of Souls influence extends throughout the entire Fighting Kai continent. If it were a Du Zun realm expert from the northwest region, as the master of a soul division hall in the northwest region, he couldn't possibly be completely unaware. After thinking for a moment, the Hall of Souls' Venerable One said coldly, "No matter who this person is, anyone who dares to kill someone from my Hall of Souls, even a Du Zun, will have to pay a price." Immediately, the Hall of Souls' Venerable One waved his right hand, and the space in front of him violently twisted. Dozens of dark figures appeared out of thin air. These dark figures were densely packed, and each one exuded at least the aura of a Du Wang. You will immediately lead a few guardians and this group of soul envoys to the Tianyin Mountain Range to investigate. If you find this person, notify me at once. The Hall of Souls' Venerable One commanded in a deep voice. Yes, Elder Zun. After bowing and accepting the order, the guardian quickly departed. The Hall of Souls' Venerable One, meanwhile, continued his seclusion, awaiting good news from this group of guardians. On the other side, Zai Tianxiao, as Guardian Shu had said, had arrived early at a forest called Burial Soul Gully, but he found no trace of the Hall of Souls. Zai Tianxiao's brows furrowed slightly, and he narrowed his eyes, saying, "Strange, 6,000 li south should be here, but why is there no trace of a soul division hall? Did I go to the wrong place? Is this not Burial Soul Gully? Burial Soul Gully. As the name suggests, it is an area for burying souls, originally a very large forest. The forest contained countless magical beasts, and there were dark rivers everywhere, with water so deep that its bottom couldn't be seen. Once fallen in, one was very likely to become a wandering soul. Because it was too dangerous, few people from the surrounding small countries ventured here, and it was impossible to determine what lay hidden in its depths. Therefore, many people were unwilling to linger near the forest, and over time, the entire forest came to be known as Burial Soul Gully. Someone is fighting. Suddenly, Zai Tianxiao sensed several auras fiercely battling on the other side of the forest. Zai Tianxiao's figure flickered, disappearing from his original spot. In the blink of an eye, he was above the battlefield, hiding and watching the young man in blue below. The man was fighting a group of magical beasts, led by several fifth-tier magical beasts. These magical beasts all had sharp claws, fangs, and teeth, and their bodies were covered in black scales, making them look extremely ferocious and terrifying. A Du Huang, how could he appear here? Zai Tianxiao looked at the man on the ground with a puzzled and somewhat surprised expression. After all, this burial soul gully was a dangerous place famous in several surrounding countries. Even a Du Huang would not dare to trespass here, yet this man dared to enter, which was truly rare. Roar. The great saber in the man's hand below swung out, and instantly a dense saber glow burst forth from the blade, enveloping a large area of soul beasts that surrounded him. Bang, bang, bang. After the saber glow struck the soul beasts, a deafening roar erupted. The third and fourth tier magical beasts at the very front instantly exploded into clumps of bloody mist, disappearing without a trace. With the strength of a newly advanced Du Huang, to instantly kill so many fourth-tier magical beasts is quite good. Watching the scene before him, Zai Tianxiao's face showed a hint of appreciation. The few fifth-tier magical beasts further back, seeing their subordinates instantly killed, all roared and charged towards the young man in blue. A hint of solemnity also flashed in the young man in blue's eyes. He stomped his foot, his figure rapidly retreating, and continuously swung the great saber in his hand. Large amounts of saber glow whistled out, cutting down the magical beasts that lunged at him one by one. Rumble. Waves of attacks continuously fell, giant trees turned into wood chips and large trees crashed down. The ground was plowed with deep pits. Time to go. Just as Zai Tianxiao was about to leave, he suddenly felt waves of eerie and malevolent auras rapidly approaching. This aura. Zai Tianxiao's eyes narrowed slightly, a sharp glint flashing within them as he said, "It's the Hall of Souls, no doubt, and quite a few of them." "It seems I didn't go the wrong way. The Hall of Souls is nearby." Zai Tianxiao's lips curved upwards. He had initially thought he would need to search for a while, but he didn't expect the Hall of Souls people to show themselves, saving him the trouble of searching. Whoosh, 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 swish, swish, swish. Sounds of rushing through the air echoed in the forest. Dozens of Hall of Souls soul envoys descended from the sky, surrounding the young man in blue who was fighting magical beasts on the ground. Seeing the dozens of black-robed figures suddenly appear before him, the young man in blue's pupils sharply constricted, his face filled with horror. Who are you people?" The young man in blue swallowed, asking in a wary, deep voice. He had come because his wife had been harmed by a villain and didn't have long to live. He had heard from an alchemist that there were medicinal ingredients in the burial soul gully forest that could treat his wife, so he had rushed here to gather them. But just as he finally found the ingredients, a group of magical beasts appeared and entangled him in a fight. Fortunately, he had good strength, otherwise he would have long since perished. And now these people had suddenly appeared here, and their auras were extremely powerful, with the weakest being Du Wang's and even several strong Du Huang auras mixed among them. Heh. Immediately after, 3 figures appeared in the air, letting out waves of sinister laughter. I didn't expect a little mouse to run into this burial soul gully. The old man leading the 3 figures had a face covered in hideous scars, and a bloodthirsty smile hung on his lips. The 3 guardians had originally received orders from the Hall of Souls, Venerable One, to lead the soul envoys to the Tianyin Mountain Range for investigation. But as soon as they came out, they were attracted by the battle aura here. Looking at the 3 Hall of Souls guardians standing in the air, the young man in blue's face turned pale, and his eyes were filled with fear. Du Zong. Heh, you ant, how dare you come to my Hall of Souls territory? You're simply courting death. Seeing the young man in blue's expression, he snorted coldly, moved his figure, and appeared beside the young man in blue, reaching out to grab his neck. The young man in blue's pupils suddenly widened, his eyes full of fear, but it was to no avail. Boom. A phantom giant hand slammed out from the void, clamping the guardian's neck, rendering him unable to move. Ugh. Seeing this sudden scene, the guardian's face drastically changed, his eyes filled with shock, and his heart pounded uncontrollably. Crack. Immediately after, the guardian's throat bones were crushed, and blood sprayed out. Earthrank guardian dead. Who dares to kill my Hall of Souls guardian? Seeing the tragic death of one guardian, the faces of the remaining 2 Hall of Souls guardians in the field drastically changed, and they looked around with suspicion and uncertainty. With so many soul envoys, to kill a mere Du Huang and still need a guardian to act, it's truly laughable. A cold voice came, and Zai Tianxiao, with his hands behind his back, appeared in everyone's line of sight. I've made some changes and will respond regarding soul realms. In the original work, soul realms were only mentioned in chapter 1103, and it wasn't stated that breakthroughs directly led to advancement. I also checked online and couldn't find anything. Those who are unclear can take a look. Also, in the original work, only high-ranking alchemist elders of the Pill Tower and peak-due saints like Gu Yuan and Hun Tiandi were mentioned as having heaven realm soul realms. However, regarding whether soul power directly increases to spirit realm or heaven realm upon breaking through to Du Zun or Du Saint, I truly couldn't find any information. It's likely that Tudu didn't supplement it or forgot. How to put it? If breaking through to Du Zun or Du Saint automatically led to spirit realm or heaven realm, then the information about soul realms in the original work wouldn't be so scarce, to the point where even some 7th or 8th grade alchemists of the Pill Tower weren't clear. And no one knew the cultivation methods, so I've just gone with the Transmigator's own abilities. Chapter 15, Soul Palace Elder. Chapter 15, Hall of Souls. Venerable One, you, who are you? How dare you interfere with the Hall of Souls business? When they clearly saw the newcomer's true appearance, for some unknown reason, a strange pressure and fear rose in the hearts of the Hall of Souls members. Who am I? Didn't Guardian Shu send you a message before he died? Hearing their questions, Zai Tianxiao's eyes showed a hint of playfulness. He's that Du Zun. Quickly inform the Elder Zun. The two guardians exchanged glances, their eyes flickering with intense apprehension. One of the guardians spoke. I thought you would hide, but I didn't expect you to dare show yourself. Very good, it seems our mission can end early. The two guardians hadn't expected to encounter Zai Tianxiao right after receiving the Elder Zun's order. They didn't know whether to be happy or worried. They were happy that they could immediately complete the mission given by the Elder Zun, but worried because Zai Tianxiao was too terrifying. Although there were many of them, they were no match for a Du Zun expert. They could only hope the Elder Zun would arrive quickly, otherwise, they would suffer the same fate as the guardian Zai Tianxiao had slapped to death earlier. No wonder the Hall of Souls suddenly sent so many people here. It turns out they were looking for me. Listening to the guardian's words, Zai Tianxiao suddenly understood, then showed a sarcastic look. Now that you've found me, aren't you going to make a move? Or are you waiting for that so-called Elder Zun to stand up for you? Just a Du Zun. Zai Tianxiao wasn't afraid. If it weren't for fear of exposing his half-saint strength too early and attracting the attention of the Central Plains Hall of Souls, Zai Tianxiao would have long since killed these people and tried the system's devour function at the Hall of Souls. Don't think that just because you're a Du Zun expert, you can do as you please. Our Hall of Souls Venerable One is about to arrive in person, and you will surely die. Seeing Zai Tianxiao's calm and composed expression, the eyelids of the two Hall of Souls guardians twitched, and a hint of surprise appeared in their eyes, but they immediately retreated several steps without a word. There was no other way. Zai Tianxiao's method of killing a guardian with a single palm strike earlier was too shocking, and it was still vivid in the minds of the Hall of Souls members. Scared, so even people from the Hall of Souls can be this cowardly. Zai Tianxiao scoffed, then swept his gaze over the Hall of Souls members, saying, just a soul division hall, yet it can dispatch so many Du kings and even Du emperors. That's quite a grand gesture. But, has your Elder Zun lost his mind? Does he really think he can capture me with some crooked gourds and cracked dates? Zai Tianxiao's eyes flashed with a mocking disdain. Jai. This Elder Zun merely sent them to ascertain your location. I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to my doorstep. This truly saves this Elder Zun a lot of trouble. A cold laugh came from the void, and then the void trembled and a person walked out from it. This person was clad in black robes, his face full of wrinkles, his eyes narrowed and his mouth slightly open, looking very much like an old monster. Greetings, Elder Zun. Seeing the person who emerged, the Hall of Souls members all knelt down in unison, their eyes filled with reverence and respect. The Soul Division Hall Elder Zun, who could also be called the Hall Master, was held by a Du Zun below the peak of a 4-star Du Zun and was the most powerful person in the entire branch hall. Each Elder Zun had 5 heaven-level guardians, 10 earth-level guardians, 15 human-level guardians, and nearly 100 soul envoys under his command. Is that so? Then you better watch carefully. Zai Tianxiao, unhurried, spread his 5 fingers, aimed at the dozens of soul envoys on the ground, and abruptly clenched his hand inward. Instantly, all dozens of soul envoys exploded and died. Immediately after, Zai Tianxiao looked at the stunned young man in green on the ground and said, "Go, staying here is an eyesore." The young man in green, who had thought he was doomed to die, immediately sobered up upon hearing this and bowed, saying, "Thank you, sir, for saving my life this time. I will engrave it in my heart and never forget it." After speaking, the young man in green took a deep look at Zai Tianxiao, as if to remember him forever in his heart, then spread his Du Kai wings and flew into the distance. How dare you? The Hall of Souls Venerable One saw Zai Tianxiao disregard him so utterly, even daring to save an ant right under his nose. Instantly, the rage in his heart ignited. His eyes narrowed, and a vast and powerful aura surged into the sky. "Go kill that escaping ant." The Hall of Souls Venerable One yelled at the 2 remaining Hall of Souls Guardians, and as the 2 Guardians accepted the order and flew out, sword break, the Hall of Souls Venerable One pointed a finger, and immediately, streaks of soul light shot into the ground. Countless sword marks appeared on the surface, and numerous sword lights shot straight into the sky, like a silver dragon rushing towards Zai Tianxiao. "Petty tricks." Zai Tianxiao scoffed disdainfully, waving his hand. A massive palm print condensed out of thin air, meeting the sword lights. Then he grabbed at the void with his other hand, and the space immediately twisted. The Hall of Souls Guardians who had just flown out were annihilated in the void. Rumble. On the ground, a powerful gust of wind raged at the junction of the 2, stirring up countless dust, and a cloud of smoke filled the air. The 2 streaks of soul light collided, causing a violent explosion. In the center of the explosion, the smoke dissipated and a giant pit appeared. As the dust settled, a deep crater was revealed before everyone's eyes, and the Hall of Souls Venerable One was now half kneeling on the ground, his chest pierced through, streaks of fresh blood continuously flowing from the wound, a shocking sight. You're not a 1-star Du Zun." The Hall of Souls Venerable One looked at Zai Tianxiao unwillingly. He had thought the opponent was merely a newly advanced Du Zun, and that his own strength would be enough to take down Zai Tianxiao. But to his surprise, the sword light he had unleashed with all his might was shattered by a single palm, and he himself was heavily injured. He was a peak 4-star Du Zun. Even if the opponent was 3 or 4 stars higher than him, it would be impossible to heavily injure him with a single palm. To possess such strength, the opponent's cultivation must have reached the peak realm of Du Zun. Zai Tianxiao slowly raised his head, looked at the Hall of Souls Venerable One, and coldly snorted, "He, a 1-star Du Zun. When did I ever admit that?" Zai Tianxiao's half-saint strength could easily crush this Hall of Souls Venerable One in front of him, but he didn't do so. He still wanted to test how the system could devour. "Damn it, with your near-peak Du Zun's strength, how could you appear in this northwest region?" At this moment, the Elder Zun finally understood why Zai Tianxiao didn't put him in his eyes. With the opponent's strength, he was on par with the Hall of Souls Heavenly Venerate. His small branch hall master position indeed wasn't enough to look at. Although Zai Tianxiao's strength was terrifying, the Hall of Souls Venerable One did not think in terms of a saint expert, as that was too shocking, and with his strength, he couldn't even comprehend it, let alone dare to think about it. "You don't need to know that." Zai Tianxiao calmly looked at the Hall of Souls Venerable One opposite him and continued, "A 4-star Du Zun, as the hall master of a branch hall, you personally came to capture this lord. What, does this branch hall not have a vice hall master?" Each soul division hall, in addition to a hall master, guardians, and soul envoys, also had a vice hall master, who was slightly weaker than the hall master and held by a 1 to 3-star Elder Zun. Chapter 16. Destruction of the Branch Temple. Chapter 16. Annihilation of the branch hall. The Vice Hall Master isn't in the Soul Division Hall. I'm afraid you'll be disappointed, the Elder Zun sneered. Is that so? Your Soul Division Hall is here, isn't it? I'll destroy your Soul Division Hall first, then drag him out. It's all the same. Zai Tianxiao said indifferently, looking at the other party. Then, as if he thought of something, he added, "Oh, and don't even think about sending a message back to your Vice Hall Master. It's useless. I've already sealed this space. Damn it." Upon hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, the Elder Zun's expression drastically changed. He had indeed intended to notify the Vice Hall Master while the other party wasn't paying attention, but the other party had already anticipated it and made preparations. The Elder Zun looked at Zai Tianxiao, hating him in his heart but helpless. He could only grit his teeth and say, "I admit you are very strong, but if you want to destroy my Soul Division Hall, just wait to be hunted down by the Grand Heavenly Lords." You cannot imagine the strength of a Celestial Zun. The Elder Zun believed that although Zai Tianxiao had near-peak Du Zun strength and was a true powerhouse, he was no match for the Hall of Souls' 9 Grand Heavenly Lords. Because every Celestial Zun's strength was above that of a high-level Du Zun, especially the top 3 Celestial Zuns, whose strength was even more unfathomable. You're right. The top 3 Celestial Zuns would indeed be troublesome for me right now, but as long as I keep your Branch Hall Master, they won't notice anything for now. As he spoke, Zai Tianxiao moved his foot, and his figure instantly appeared beside the Elder Zun, striking his chest with a punch. Bang. With one punch, the Hall of Souls' Venerable One's body exploded, leaving only a soul body that tried to flee. Where do you think you're running to? Zai Tianxiao flicked his finger, and a black and white flame wall, condensed from the yin-yang twin flames, suddenly flew out, instantly surrounding him. Damn it. Ah. Immediately, the illusory soul body crashed into it, emitting a sizzling sound, followed by a shrill scream. Don't worry, I said I wouldn't kill you, and I won't. Tian Zio looked at the screaming Hall of Souls' Venerable One. With a movement of his hand seals, the black and white flame wall accurately enveloped him. Then, with a wave of his hand, a surge of suction erupted. The Hall of Souls' Venerable One was sucked into the storage ring Zai Tianxiao had obtained earlier in the Tianyin Mountain Range, and then the yin-yang twin flames were infused, sealing him within. Finally, it's quiet. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. Looking at the Hall of Souls' Venerable One, who had been sealed in the storage ring, Zai Tianxiao sighed. As expected of an ethereal flame, even my yin-yang twin flames, which are at the bottom of the rankings, are incredibly terrifying in their restraint of soul bodies. Ethereal flames are inherently divine objects of heaven and earth, nurtured by heaven and earth, and each ethereal flame has its own unique properties. Powerful ethereal flames can even incinerate space, let alone this method used to prevent soul bodies from escaping. With things here resolved, it's time to go and devour the remaining people in this Soul Division Hall. The system's notification had appeared as soon as Zai Tianxiao shattered the Hall of Souls' Venerable One's body with a punch, but Zai Tianxiao had ignored it. He left this Branch Hall Master alive precisely so that the Hall of Souls headquarters in Central Plains would not detect the destruction of a branch hall in the Northwest region and investigate. Subsequently, Zai Tianxiao's figure flickered, transforming into a black light, and rushed towards the depths of the Burial Soul Gully. Soon after, what greeted Zai Tianxiao's eyes was an extremely high and steep slope. At the end of the slope was a giant valley surrounded by mountains on all sides. Within the giant valley, a massive black hall, 100 zhang in size, stood tall, like a giant black hill, exuding an immense sense of oppression. Zai Tianxiao looked around, the corner of his mouth curving slightly into a mysterious smile. No wonder I didn't discover this place before. It turns out there was a spatial barrier set up. Without careful sensing, it really would be hard to find. Spatial barriers are a powerful method of the Hall of Souls. Once outsiders enter, they will be detected, and it also ensures that cultivators from other forces will not discover it. Feeling the powerful Du King and even Du Zun auras within, Zai Tianxiao raised his eyebrows, a playful smile on his face, and thought, as expected, there are still quite a few experts hidden. Fortunately, I sealed the space earlier. If that Elder Zun had sent back news of my strength, this Vice Hall Master would probably have run away by now. Subsequently, Zai Tianxiao sealed the space again. With a wave of his right hand, the yin-yang twin flames immediately flew out from his palm, condensing into a black and white great axe exuding a chilling aura. "Allow me to knock on the door." As he spoke, Zai Tianxiao gripped the great axe and fiercely swung it down. Boom. With a loud bang, the black giant hall trembled slightly, revealing numerous black cracks, and then emitted cracking sounds, causing the entire ground to shake along with it. Boom, boom, boom. Finally, the black and white great axe transformed into a rotating black and white Teiji diagram. Within the area covered by the Teiji diagram, all rocks, trees, and mountains were incinerated into ash. The power of one axe was terrifying to such an extent. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. There's an enemy. Quickly go and invite the Vice Hall Master. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just as Zai Tianxiao swung his axe, sharp shouts rang out from within the black giant hall. The entire giant hall vibrated violently, and many soul envoy protectors rushed out in all directions. Meanwhile, at another location, deep within a secret chamber in the giant hall, a black figure sat cross-legged, surrounded by swirling black mist that, as it ebbed and flowed, exuded an eerie aura. Someone has invaded the Hall of Souls. Upon sensing this terrifying might, the black figure suddenly opened his eyes, his expression changing drastically as he said, "What a powerful aura, at least a 5-star Du Zun. How could the Hall Master not be here for such a person?" This black figure was precisely the Vice Hall Master of this Soul Division Hall. He had entered seclusion a month ago to break through to 3-star Du Zun, and had not dealt with the branch hall's affairs for some time. Now, someone had actually invaded, and the aura was so powerful that it made his heart palpitate, clearly indicating that the opponent's strength far surpassed his. No, I must immediately send a message to the higher-ups. The Vice Hall Master's expression darkened, and he quickly took out a communication jade slip. Boom tilde. However, just then, the entire ground suddenly vibrated. "Don't bother. While you were in seclusion, I sealed the entire space. Your protectors and soul envoys have also been dealt with by me." A whooshing sound rapidly cut through the space, and a black-clothed figure appeared before the Vice Hall Master. As soon as the black-clothed figure appeared, the Vice Hall Master felt a strong aura of death, making him shiver. The black-clothed figure was Zai Tianxiao. After dealing with the protectors and soul envoys outside, he followed the Du Zun aura to this secret chamber. "Heh, peak 2-star Du Zun. You must be the Vice Hall Master of this branch hall," Zai Tianxiao said indifferently, his tone full of disdain and mockery, as if looking at an ant, seeing through the Vice Hall Master's cultivation at a glance. "You're the one who attacked my Soul Division Hall." The Vice Hall Master clearly saw Zai Tianxiao's appearance, and his pupils immediately contracted, filled with extreme apprehension. "Less nonsense." Zai Tianxiao did not answer his question, but snorted coldly. His figure instantly appeared before the Vice Hall Master, grabbing the latter's neck with his right hand. A vast and terrifying aura surged out wildly, immobilizing the Vice Hall Master, rendering him unable to move. How is this possible? The Vice Hall Master's face was pale. He struggled desperately, trying to break free from Zai Tianxiao, but his strength was simply too far inferior, making it impossible to escape. Zai Tianxiao ignored the struggling Vice Hall Master and thought, "System, devour him." Chapter 17, Heading to the Gamma Empire. Chapter 17. Heading to the Jayama Empire. Ding. Devouring in progress. A screen appeared before Zai Tianxiao's eyes. With the sound of an electronic synthetic voice, the body of the subhall's Vice Hall Master began to rapidly melt away. "Damn it, what's going on?" Ding. Devouring complete host. Zai Tianxiao Realm, Half-Saint Intermediate, Soul Realm, Spirit Realm, Early Stage Self, Devoured Heavenly Flame, Yin-Yang Twin Flames, Overall Strength, Half-Saint Intermediate, System, you're alive. Zai Tianxiao stared at the data on the screen before him, his eyes wide with disbelief. Ding. Due to the host's soul power not reaching the spirit realm previously, the system was in a dormant state and therefore unable to display the host's various data. The system responded mechanically. No wonder the system was so strange before. Turns out my soul power wasn't strong enough. Zai Tianxiao couldn't help but curse upon hearing this, a look of excitement appearing on his face. So, system, what are your abilities? This system is called the Devouring system. The host can enhance their soul power and physical cultivation strength by devouring special life forms, spiritual treasures of heaven and earth, and more. That powerful. Zai Tianxiao's eyes lit up, then he asked in confusion. I know what spiritual treasures of heaven and earth are, just heavenly flames and heavenly lightning and such. But what do special life forms mean? Like these inhuman, ghost-like things from the Hall of Souls. Ding. Special life forms are beings whose soul, physique, attributes, and other aspects have reached their limit, such as Hall of Souls personnel who possess extremely strong dark attributes, but are not completely independent of their physical bodies. The system prompted. So, if I devour everyone in the Hall of Souls, wouldn't I be invincible? Zai Tianxiao's mood became excited. Ding. If the strength of the person being devoured is too weak, or does not meet the system's requirements and they must be in a near-death state, otherwise devouring cannot proceed. Got it. No wonder you didn't give me a prompt for those soul envoys I eliminated when I came in. Turns out they were too weak. Zai Tianxiao nodded in understanding. Simply put, for people who meet the system's requirements and spiritual treasures of heaven and earth, like heavenly flames and heavenly lightning, the system can devour them and convert them into the host's soul power and strength. Of course, the weaker the strength, the less help it provides after devouring. Looking at it this way, the system is still pretty good. It's just a shame that the former host's soul was devoured by me. Otherwise, based on his soul power, he shouldn't have been this weak. However, after devouring this Vice Hall Master, it allowed me to advance from the peak of the mortal realm to the spirit realm, and also clarified the system's issues, which is an unexpected bonus. Regarding his weak soul power, Zai Tianxiao felt no disappointment, only a sigh of emotion. After all, being able to merge with such a half-saint expert was already quite good. It's impossible to demand too much. One could only say that coming to this sub-hall was the right place. All right, the matters here are resolved. After all this time, it's time to set off for the Jiama Empire. Zai Tianxiao secretly made up his mind, preparing to leave. Originally, he just wanted to get some cultivation resources, and then go to the Jiama Empire to see where the plot was, whether Xiao Yan had broken off the engagement or not. Who knew that, due to the appearance of the Hall of Souls and the system, he had stayed for so long? Let me think, the Jiama Empire, it should be in that direction, Zai Tianxiao murmured. He then composed himself, his figure flickering, turning into a streak of light that flew towards the horizon, disappearing into the distant sky in the blink of an eye. Jiama Empire border. On a plain not far from the Mulan Empire, several teams of soldiers were clashing on the battlefield. Swords, spears, and halberds constantly collided, screams echoed repeatedly, and blood splattered. With a shrill cry of pain, a knight in armor flew backward, a long spear piercing his chest, blood gushing out like a fountain. PFFT, Vice Captain. Seeing his companion fall, another knight immediately became anxious. Don't be afraid, brothers, we're here. At this moment, a small general from the Jiama Empire's border roared from afar. Yellow-tier high-grade do technique, mountain-splitting palm. He slammed a palm onto the chest of a Mulan Empire soldier in front of him. With a rumble, the soldier's chest exploded, and he was sent flying. Charge, follow me to support our brothers. Following closely behind them were hundreds of soldiers in yellow armor, wielding longbows and sharp blades, who also charged into the crowd and began to fight. At this moment, hundreds of Mulan Empire soldiers looked at the people rushing from afar, and one of them shouted, "Run!" The Jiama Empire's reinforcements have arrived. Fighting any longer will only be a pointless death. What? Upon hearing this, all the soldiers were immediately shocked. If they continued to fight, there would only be death. so they didn't hesitate at all, turning around and running back. In an instant, morale was low and they were in disarray. Whoosh, whoosh at this moment, two figures with Dukai wings, one yellow and one green, swept across the sky, slowly descending onto the battlefield. These two figures stood one to the left and one to the right. One was an old man, about 70 or 80 years old, dressed in a hemp robe. The other was a woman, in her 20s, her voluptuous figure wrapped in a simple green dress, holding a long sword emitting a green glow, her dark hair styled into a noble phoenix headdress. The distance between their bodies remained about 10 meters, and both were observing the battlefield, wind extremity sunset radiance. The woman in the simple green dress suddenly swung the long sword in her hand, and streaks of sword light, condensed from green Dukai, arrived in an instant, shooting towards the Mulan Empire soldiers fleeing across the ground. PFFT, PFFT. With several consecutive sounds, squads of fallen Goose Empire soldiers were struck down onto the ground. Witnessing this scene, the remaining Jayama Empire soldiers on the battlefield were stunned. But upon seeing the huge wings behind the person who made the move, they all reacted, bowing their heads and saying, "Many thanks to Du Huang Adult for your assistance. Rise, all of you. No need for such formality." The woman in the simple green dress revealed a faint smile. "Thank you, Du Huang Adult." The Jayama Empire soldiers stood up, their eyes filled with deep reverence. Look, the Du Huang expert smiled at me. Wow, I actually saw a Du Huang expert. I can brag about this for a lifetime. Yes, and there are two Du Huangs. The absolute powerhouses of the Jayama Empire. In such a small border area, Du Huangs were even more like gods in the hearts of these soldiers, an existence they would forever look up to. And now, to actually witness a Du Huang adult personally lending aid, how could their hearts not be excited? Sect leader Yun has excellent methods. The power of this sunset radiance move is much stronger than before. The old man in the hemp robe smiled and said to the woman in the simple green dress beside him, "Oh, old Jia, you flatter me." The woman in the simple green dress smiled charmingly, then looked into the distance and said, "Recently, for some unknown reason, the Mulan Empire's attacks on our Jayama Empire's border have become increasingly frequent, and even many small cities have seen Mulan Empire people emerge." The other party comes with ill intentions. The old man in the hemp robe nodded slightly, then said, "Besides our Jayama Empire, I've also found out that the Izumo Empire and some surrounding countries without Du Zong experts have also been attacked and infiltrated by the Mulan Empire." "That's serious. Do they have some kind of reliance?" The woman in the simple green dress furrowed her delicate brows, appearing somewhat puzzled. The old man in the hemp robe shook his head. "I'm not sure either, but looking at the Mulan Empire's actions these past few days, they seem to be desperately searching for something." Upon hearing this, the woman in the simple green dress lightly frowned. That truly is strange. Chapter 18, Mulan Valley, Elders. Chapter 18. Elder of Mulan Valley. The woman in the plain dress truly didn't understand why the Mulan Empire had suddenly become so proactive, even daring to offend the strong cultivators in the surrounding empires. Sect leader Yun, since the aura of that mysterious, powerful cultivator has vanished from this border, continuing our search would be fruitless. "It's time for us to return," the old man in the hemp robe said indifferently. "Very well." The woman in the plain dress nodded. The two had sensed a powerful aura, possibly exceeding a Du Huang battle emperor, appearing in this area and had rushed to pursue it. They initially thought it belonged to a powerful cultivator from the Mulan Empire, which had been active recently, but before they could figure it out, the aura disappeared. Afterward, the two unfurled their Dukai wings and soared into the distance. However, what the two didn't realize was that if they had gone a little further, they would have found the severely injured Pill King lying in the small town. 2 hours ago, this should be the Jia Ma Empire. A voice emanated from the void, and then space slowly twisted. Zai Tianxiao, clad in a black robe, appeared above a small town on the border of the Jia Ma Empire. Although his predecessor had frequented the northwest region, most of his time was spent in secluded cultivation and plundering resources from ruins. As for which empires were in the northwest region, his predecessor wasn't very clear. So, Zai Tianxiao, following his predecessor's vague estimation of the Jia Ma Empire's location, and after mistakenly visiting a few other empires, finally found a border town of the Jia Ma Empire and arrived there. Oh, why is there a Du Huang Peak aura? As soon as Zai Tianxiao arrived in the small town, he sensed a Du Huang Peak aura rapidly flying towards him, which made him show a hint of surprise. What was the concept of a Du Huang Peak? One must know that among the 10 strongest cultivators in the Jia Ma Empire, more than half were still only Du Wang, Battle King level, not even Du Huang, Battle Emperor, let alone a powerful cultivator at the pinnacle of Du Huang, Battle Emperor. Could it be Jia Zingshan? According to Zai Tianxiao's understanding, besides Jia Zingshan of the imperial family and the old sect leader Yun Shan of the Cloud Mist sect who was in secluded cultivation, no one else had reached this realm. No, why is there also a faint Du Wang, Battle King, aura mixed in? A look of surprise appeared on Zai Tianxiao's face. Whoosh, a sound of rushing air was heard. A figure, dressed in a cyan robe with a black bear pattern, appeared. A hint of bloodthirsty red light flashed in his eyes, and a pair of huge blue Dukai wings formed behind him, flying rapidly from a distance. The figure was also carrying a middle-aged man, dressed in a luxurious white robe, who was unconscious. However, at this moment, the luxurious white robe was already tattered and his own appearance was disheveled, covered in wounds, looking utterly miserable. Strange, isn't it enough to just find that thing? Why did the Lord also ask me to bring back some high-level alchemists from the Empire? The figure muttered to himself as he flew. What is that? Suddenly, his gaze sharpened slightly as he looked at Zai Tianxiao, who was not far in front of him. Immediately, the figure's pupils suddenly contracted, and a look of shock and apprehension appeared on his face. A Du Zong Battle Ancestor Cultivator. Although Zai Tianxiao's aura was very faint, his figure, standing in the air, was clearly visible, and the brilliant light emanating from his eyes made people feel a chill, causing the figure to involuntarily feel a hint of fear. Looking at the figure who was staring blankly not far away, Zai Tianxiao took a step with his right foot, instantly appearing in front of the figure and said indifferently, "You are not from the Jia Ma Empire, are you?" Zai Tianxiao remembered that Jia Zingshan of the Jia Ma Empire should possess Earth-attributed Dukai, not Blue-attributed Dukai. Moreover, the other party was carrying a heavily injured middle-aged man, which made him somewhat curious. The indifferent voice was heard in the figure's ear, calm and without any fluctuations, sounding as if it were a casual question. The figure trembled slightly, then immediately returned to normal. "This lord, I am Laiksheng, the third elder of Mulan Valley from the Mulan Empire. May I ask why the lord is blocking my way? Has Laiksheng offended the lord in any way? There was no other way." Although the 3 elders of Mulan, with the help of that lord, had recently successfully learned the 3 beasts savage art, a combined attack that could rival a Du Zong Battle Ancestor. But now he was alone. How could he possibly contend with a Du Zong Battle Ancestor cultivator? So he could only be a bit cowardly. "You haven't offended me. I was just curious who the Du Huang Battle Emperor appearing on the border of the Jia Ma Empire was, but I didn't expect you to be from Mulan Valley." Listening to Laiksheng's words, Zai Tianxiao said indifferently on the surface, but inwardly he suddenly realized. So, he's one of the 3 elders of Mulan. He remembered that in the original work, the 3 of them seemed to have mastered a unique skill that could contend with a Du Zong Battle Ancestor. And then they held back Queen Medusa during their attack on the Jia Ma Empire. After hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, Laiksheng breathed a sigh of relief and respectfully asked, "Has the Lord also heard of my Mulan Valley? If the Lord has no further instructions, I, Lai, will take my leave." Laiksheng believed that since the other party had heard of Mulan Valley's reputation, the other party must also be a Du Zong Battle Ancestor from the northwest region, and his strength should not be too high. Therefore, he did not want to delay any longer and requested to leave. Zai Tianxiao nodded slightly, pondered for a moment, and then pointed at the unconscious middle-aged man in Lai Xing's hand, asking, "Who is this middle-aged man?" This. Lai Xing hesitated, because that lord had instructed him not to reveal anything he had ordered while outside, otherwise, everyone in Mulan Valley would suffer the consequences. But now the other party was asking about this middle-aged man, making him unsure how to answer. "I don't have time to waste with you here." Zai Tianxiao snorted coldly, and a terrifying pressure emanated from him, causing the entire surrounding sky to violently oscillate. Immediately, Lai Xing felt his bones crackle and his blood surged within him, almost causing him to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. He is Gu He, a 6th-rank alchemist in the Jia Ma Empire, known as the Pill King. I'm just responsible for bringing him back. I don't know the specifics, Lord. Lai Xing's face was covered in sweat as he stammered. He had thought Zai Tianxiao was merely a novice Du Zong, battle ancestor, but he never expected him to possess such power, capable of making him breathless with just a hint of his aura. In his opinion, Zai Tianxiao's strength was definitely not inferior to that lord's and might even be superior. "Oh, Pill King Gu He." Zai Tianxiao raised an eyebrow, then withdrew his pressure, looking at the unconscious middle-aged man and pondering to himself. Is this guy Yun simp? Or should I say deeply affectionate? He looks a bit handsome. But, as they say, the falling flowers pine for love, but the flowing water is indifferent. If someone isn't interested in you, why bother being a simp? You'll only get hurt. Since the 3 elders of Mulan had no names in the original work, I could only randomly choose one. Also, I advanced the time when Mulan Valley learned the 3 beasts' savage art. Chapter 19, Furukawa Chapter 19, Gu He, do you know him, my lord? Lai Xing wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, looking at Zai Tianxiao nervously and asking, "You're no longer releasing your pressure, Zai Tianxiao. It's not just me who's curious. Who told you to bring him back, and how did Gu He end up like this?" Zai Tianxiao waved his hand, looking at the middle-aged man held by Lai Xing, and asked with interest. "I'm not sure either." A man in a black robe suddenly appeared in Mulan Valley. He was very strong, a Du Zong-level expert. He told my 3 brothers and me to obey him, help him find a strange ancient jade, and bring back some powerful alchemists. In exchange, he helped my 3 brothers and me master a Du skill that could rival a Du Zong, and promised to help all 3 of us break through to Du Zong after the task was complete. As for Gu He, I originally wanted to bring him back to Mulan Valley properly, but unfortunately, this guy was disobedient, so I could only make him a little more obedient. Lai Xing breathed a sigh of relief and quickly explained. He was afraid that Zai Tianxiao had a past with Gu He. In that case, he would have been in trouble today. "I see. You can go, but you must leave Gu He and the storage ring in your hand. You have no objections, right?" Zai Tianxiao glanced at the middle-aged man and asked. No objections, no objections." How dare Lai Xing voice an objection? He quickly shook his head, thinking, "You're so powerful, wouldn't it be suicide if I had an objection?" However, he was also a bit curious as to why Zai Tianxiao, a Du Zong-level expert, would be interested in his storage ring. But he still quickly shook his head and took off the storage ring from his finger to hand it over. This storage ring contained all his wealth, but compared to money, he valued his life more. "Then, I'll take my leave." After giving the storage ring to Zai Tianxiao, Lai Xing said respectfully and quickly flew towards the direction of the Mulan Empire. His speed was even a few points faster than when Zai Tianxiao had appeared just now. This guy is quite sensible. Zai Tianxiao glanced at the departing Lai Xing and murmured softly. Putting away Lai Xing's storage ring, Zai Tianxiao turned to look at Gu He, who was floating in the air, a hint of mockery on his lips, and said, "Is this the Pill King, the #1 alchemist of the Jia Ma Empire?" He was almost taken away by the Hall of Souls without anyone knowing. It's truly laughable. Zai Tianxiao didn't really want to bother with Gu He. After all, when he was on Blue White Star and read novels, he preferred female protagonists like Xiao Yixian, Yun, and Yafei. Now that he had transmigrated, he disliked this Gu He, who supposedly liked Yun, even more. However, when he heard Lai Xing mention finding some ancient jade, Zai Tianxiao guessed that the mastermind behind this might be from one of the 8 great clans. Coupled with the black robes and the search for alchemists, he was certain they were from the Hall of Souls. And as an enemy Zai Tianxiao would face sooner or later, he certainly couldn't let them have their way. Most importantly, Gu He was merely a Du Wang. What if he saved him? Zai Tianxiao could extinguish him with a raised finger. There was no need to take it to heart. However, although he had indirectly saved Gu He didn't intend to let Gu He leave so easily. Then, Zai Tianxiao flashed and appeared below. With a wave of his hand, the floating Gu He was thrown to the ground. Gu He suddenly woke up and looking up saw Zai Tianxiao's cold face. His expression changed drastically. He scrambled up from the ground and said in a panic, Who are you? Why are you capturing me? Is that all? Looking at Gu He, who was so confused and disoriented, Zai Tianxiao chuckled. Then he flicked his sleeve and said disdainfully, Are you planning to treat your savior like this? Look at where this is. Capture you, are you worthy? What good would it do me to capture you? Gu He was merely a 6th-rank alchemist and one who had just entered that rank. Zai Tianxiao didn't even bother to look at him. What? After hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, Gu He was stunned. He carefully looked around and realized that he was standing in an uninhabited open space in a small town on the border of the Jia Ma Empire. It was not the Mulan Empire or Mulan Valley that Lai Xing had mentioned earlier. Thank you for saving my life, Senior. I, Gu He, will engrave it in my heart. If there's ever anything you need my help with in the future, just say the word, and Gu He will do his utmost. Gu He, who had come to his senses, took a deep breath and respectfully bowed to Zai Tianxiao, expressing his gratitude. He never expected to be so unlucky. After accidentally obtaining a rank 5 medicinal formula and discovering a missing ingredient, he went to the desert on the border of the Jia Ma Empire to search for it. Unexpectedly, he was stopped by a Du Huang who claimed to be from the Mulan Empire and told him to go to Mulan Valley. He was unwilling to go and offered a series of rank 6 pills and an alchemist's favor, but the other party did not appreciate it and knocked him unconscious, then captured him. He had thought he would most likely die at the hands of that Du Huang this time, but he was unexpectedly rescued by this mysterious expert. Senior, who is your senior? Hearing Gu He's words, Zai Tianxiao couldn't help but let out a sneer. Immediately, he stepped into the void and appeared above Gu He's head, looking down at him and saying coldly, You should call me my lord, understand? After hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, Gu He was slightly stunned. He didn't understand why Zai Tianxiao had suddenly changed his attitude and demanded to be called my lord. Gu He was about to feel a surge of anger in his heart, but upon seeing Zai Tianxiao standing in the void, he suppressed it, gritting his teeth and saying, Yes, my lord. Hearing Gu He's respectful voice, Zai Tianxiao nodded in satisfaction. This feeling of stepping on someone was truly exhilarating. He's actually a Du Zong expert. Looking at Zai Tianxiao's happy expression, Gu He couldn't help but curse in his heart. Damn it, where did this Du Zong expert come from? And such an arrogant and ill-mannered Du Zong, I didn't even offend him. Damn it. He had originally thought that Zai Tianxiao was a Du Huang-level expert, and that he had saved him because he had heard of his reputation as a 6th-rank alchemist and wanted to befriend him. Unfortunately, he was wrong. The person who came was actually a Du Zong expert. And he showed such disregard for him. All right, I don't want to hear about how you were caught by this Mulan Valley elder. It's a mess. Leave your storage ring and you can go. Zai Tianxiao waved his hand impatiently and said coldly. Zai Tianxiao had saved Gu He's life, and the other party was still so unappreciative. Considering the things in his ring, breaking a finger was light punishment. As for why he wanted a 6th-rank alchemist storage ring, it was still the same old saying. Free things, don't take them for granted. Although these resources might not be useful now, they could be given to others or used when he wanted to establish a faction in the future. After all, no one would complain about having too many cultivation resources. The more the better. Isn't that right, Chapter 20 Zio family? Can this lord change his demand? You also know how important an alchemist storage ring is. Hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, and understanding that the other party was a Du Zong, battle sect, realm expert, Gu He's face still showed hesitation as he tentatively asked. If it were just money, he had as much as he wanted, but his storage ring contained many important and even rare pill recipes and pills. If he handed them all over, he probably wouldn't be able to refine pills for a long time. I don't care about any of that. Since you think these things aren't worth your life, then I'll just have to reclaim them for Mulan Valley. Looking at the indecisive Gu He said indifferently. After speaking, his right palm slowly extended, and an invisible force quietly spread out, enveloping Gu He. Seeing Zai Tianxiao's movement, Gu He's pupils contracted sharply, and he quickly shouted, Lord, wait, Lord, wait. Gu He is willing to give his storage ring to the Lord. Although Gu He had only asked tentatively, he didn't expect Zai Tianxiao to directly show him killing intent. If he had been any later, the life he had just barely saved would have been lost. Too late. After hearing Gu He's words, a cold light flickered in Zai Tianxiao's eyes. He clenched his hand, and a powerful force emanated from his body, spreading in all directions. Suddenly, Gu He felt an intense pain all over his body. His already injured body coughed up another mouthful of fresh blood, and his legs weakened, causing him to kneel. Then, Zai Tianxiao lightly hooked his finger at Gu He, who was kneeling on the ground. A large hand made of fire-attributed Duzhai Kai appeared, grabbing Gu He by the neck and lifting him in front of him. Lo Lord, Gu He's feet left the ground, and just as he felt he was about to suffocate, Zai Tianxiao finally released his neck. HMP. Relieved, Gu He immediately gasped for air, collapsing onto the ground and taking deep breaths of fresh air. Ah! But before Gu He could catch his breath, he suddenly let out a scream. His finger, which wore the storage ring, was suddenly burned to nothingness by a black and white flame, leaving only a thumb-sized storage ring slowly floating towards Zai Tianxiao. This time is just a lesson. Remember, in front of an expert, don't try to play clever tricks and never defy an expert's words. Otherwise, the consequences are beyond your imagination. Putting away Gu He's storage ring, Zai Tianxiao glanced at him and warned coldly, Yes, thank you for your guidance, Lord. Gu He, kneeling on the ground, buried his head deeply and said with difficulty, Might makes right, there was no other way. He could only blame himself for not being strong enough, otherwise he wouldn't have fallen to such a miserable state. Sai, I didn't want to make a move. Why do you always have to wait for me to act before you become obedient? In this regard, that Mulan Valley elder is much stronger than you. Seeing Gu He's appearance, Zai Tianxiao shook his head helplessly. Before, you could barely fly back. Now I won't disturb you. Looking at the bruised and battered Gu He, who couldn't even lift his head, Zai Tianxiao sneered. Then, he leaped up and flew straight towards the distant horizon. After Zai Tianxiao's figure completely disappeared, only Gu He was left lying on the ground, wailing. I hate it. Where did this Du Zong battle sect come from? Why is his temper so strange? Sigh. He looked at the sky, his face changing unpredictably, his eyes filled with resentment, unwillingness, sorrow, and helplessness. Soon, a mother and son passed by in the distance. The little girl curiously said in a soft voice, Mommy, look over there, there's a strange uncle. After leaving, Zai Tianxiao didn't pay attention to what would happen to Gu He, but instead muttered, Wooten City. I wonder if Yao Chen has awakened, if Xiao Yan has broken off his engagement, and if he has shouted that classic, eternally circulating phrase. Flying in the sky, Zai Tianxiao slowly thought about all the possible situations, his heart filled with anticipation. Of course, this anticipation didn't mean he was going to fawn over Xiao Yan or be Xiao Yan's babysitter. He just wanted to see the spirit of not admitting defeat that he had as a youth. And even if there was fawning, it would be Xiao Yan fawning over him. Who made him reincarnate, no, transmigrate, with such good luck, merging with an expert, although with Xiao Yan's personality, he wouldn't make such a move. Jia Ma Empire, Wooten City. The Xiao family plaza was bustling with people, exceptionally lively. It's testing time again today. Yeah, I hope I can reach the 7th stage Duzhai Kai this time. Otherwise, I'll be sent to manage the family business in another region next year. Hey, what do you guys think? How many stages of Duzhai Kai will our great genius Xiao Yan drop to this time? You mean that genius Xiao Yan, who cultivated at 4, reached the ninth stage Dukai at 10, and broke through to do practitioner at 11. Genius. Forget it, he'll probably drop a few more stages of Du Zhai Kai in this test. The plaza was abuzz with discussion. Everyone's faces showed excitement, regret, envy, jealousy, worry, and some even held a schadenfreude attitude, criticizing their Xiao family's former genius. In short, all sorts of voices were endless, but everyone's gaze was focused on one place, the stone monument in the center of the plaza. At this moment, the dark test monument was glowing, displaying a line of golden text. Xiao Mei Du Zhai Kai 6th stage. Beside the test magic monument, a middle-aged man looked at the information displayed on the monument and read it aloud. Yay. Hearing the score shouted by the tester, the young girl's face was beaming with a bright smile, her hands tightly clasped, her face full of joy. Oh my god, Miss Xiao may actually reach the 6th stage Du Zhai Kai, that's amazing. She's only 13, right? Yeah, at this rate, she'll probably reach the 7th stage by next year. Listening to the envious voices from the crowd, the smile on the young girl's cheeks grew even wider. Vanity, this was a temptation that many girls couldn't resist. The young girl was only about 14. Although she wasn't stunningly beautiful, her innocent little face contained a hint of charm. Purity and charm, a contradictory combination, made her successfully become the focus of attention for the entire audience. Next, Xiao Zun in the noisy crowd, the tester's voice rang out again. As this somewhat elegant name sounded, the crowd suddenly fell silent, and all eyes abruptly shifted. Where everyone's gazes converged, a young girl in a purple dress stood elegantly. Her calm, delicate, pretty face did not change in the slightest due to everyone's attention. The young girl's cool and indifferent temperament was like a freshly bloomed lotus. At such a young age, she already possessed an otherworldly aura. It was hard to imagine how devastatingly beautiful she would become when she grew up. Chapter 21, Xiao Yan. Chapter 21. Xiao Yan, in terms of beauty and temperament, this purple-robed girl was many times superior to Xiao Mei, which was why everyone present reacted that way. With light steps, the girl named Xiao Zun walked to the magic stone tablet. She extended her small hand, and the purple sleeve, embroidered with black and gold threads, slid down, revealing a section of her snow-white, delicate wrist. She then lightly touched the stone tablet. After a brief silence, the dazzling light on the stone tablet once again bloomed. Xiao Zun Du Zhai Kai, 8 segments. The middle-aged man watching the stone tablet display 8 segments of Du Zhai Kai also froze, then slowly spoke. He hadn't expected Xiao Zun talent to be so terrifying. She had reached 8 segments of Du Zhai Kai at 13. Would she become a Du practitioner next year? Oh my god, Xiao Zun actually jumped directly from 5 segments of Du Zhai Kai last year to 8 segments now. This is too amazing. She's actually reached 8 segments, truly terrifying. It seems the second person among the younger generation of the family must be Miss Zunner. That's right, the second person. The first person was once the genius Xiao Yan. After the commotion, the surrounding family disciples all involuntarily swallowed, their eyes filled with awe. Xiao Zun calm face showed no joy because of the surrounding praise. Instead, she quietly turned around, silently observing the back of the crowd. Du Zhai Kai is a necessary path for every Du practitioner. Early stage Du Zhai Kai is divided into 1 to 10 segments. When the Du Zhai Kai within the body reaches 10 segments, one can condense a Du Zhai Kai vortex and become a respected Du practitioner in the crowd. Xiao Mei frowned, staring at the purple-robed girl in front of the stone tablet, her face looking somewhat unpleasant. She was a talented individual among the direct descendants of the Xiao family, and a standout among the younger generation of the Xiao family. She had originally thought her 6 segments of Du Zhai Kai would shine brightly in this family test, but she hadn't expected to be completely overshadowed by Xiao Zun 8 segments of Du Zhai Kai. This made her very unhappy, even a little jealous. Xiao Yan, it's your turn. Come up. The middle-aged man beside the magic tablet looked at Xiao Yan, who was at the back of the crowd, and said indifferently, Xiao Yan looked up, glanced at the magic tablet, clasped his hands tightly, and stepped towards the test stone tablet. Xiao Zun watching Xiao Yan approach the stone tablet, quickly ran over, grabbed his arm, and encouraged him. "Brother Xiao Yan, you can do it. I believe in you." Zun Xiao Yan looked at Xiao Zun a faint smile forced onto his melancholic face. "I will." Then he extended his right arm and placed it on the stone tablet. Light flashed on the magic tablet, and 2 lines of text appeared. Du Zhai Kai, 4 segments. The middle-aged man showed no surprise at this, but rather read it out blandly, as if he had long expected it. "What?" "Xiao Yan has reached 4 segments of Du Zhai Kai." The surroundings immediately became agitated again. However, this time, the crowd was not excited or thrilled, but filled with endless mockery and a hint of pity. "Haha, it's just as I expected. This genius has regressed again. It's actually 4 segments of Du Zhai Kai, even lower than mine. Alas, how has that talented young man, once famous in Wooten City, fallen to such a state? Who knows, 4 segments this year, maybe 3 segments next year." The mocking laughter and regretful sighs from the surroundings fell upon Xiao Yan's ears, like a heavy hammer striking his heart, causing his body to tremble violently. The young man slowly raised his head, revealing a somewhat delicate and youthful face. His dark eyes blankly swept over the mocking peers around him, and a bitter smile touched the corner of his mouth. "Indeed, my Du Zhai Kai has decreased instead of increasing. Ever since he broke through to Du Practitioner 2 years ago, not only did the Du Zhai Kai vortex he had painstakingly cultivated for over 10 years vanish overnight, but no matter how he cultivated, the Du Zhai Kai in his body continued to diminish with the passage of time, until he dropped from a 1-star Du Practitioner to his current 4 segments of Du Zhai Kai. Alas, seeing Xiao Yan's dejected appearance, Xiao Mei inexplicably sighed softly, her expression somewhat complex, but soon it returned to normal. She was no longer on the same level as Xiao Yan. Based on Xiao Yan's performance in recent years, after he came of age, he would at most be a lower-ranking member of the family, while she, with her excellent talent, would become a strong individual nurtured by the family, with limitless prospects. HMPH, have you laughed enough? Brother Xiao Yan, let's go. Seeing this, Xiao Zun face darkened, golden flames flickering in her eyes as she coldly snapped at the mocking disciples. She found these people truly annoying and repulsive. Faced with Xiao Zun's cold rebuke, the disciples immediately fell silent, not daring to say anything more. However, the look in their eyes towards Xiao Yan still carried a hint of mockery. "All right." Xiao Yan said nothing more, but nodded, turned, and walked towards the exit of the arena. As he walked, he apologized to Xiao Zun beside him. "Zun, I'm sorry, you had to help me out again." "It's all right, brother Xiao Yan, I understand you." Xiao Zun shook her head and smiled, a sweet smile appearing on her face. Seeing Xiao Zun like this, Xiao Yan felt a warmth in his heart, and a gentle smile also appeared on his face. He softly said, "Thank you, Zun. Brother Xiao Yan, you once told Zun that only by being able to let go can one pick up. To be free to let go and pick up is to be a free person." Xiao Zun said softly with a smile, her slightly childish voice, yet it warmed the heart and lungs. "A free person, huh? I only say it. Look at me now, do I look like a free person? And this world doesn't belong to me anyway." Xiao Yan shook his head, a trace of confusion flashing in his eyes as he mumbled to himself, seemingly self-mocking and perhaps mocking himself. Facing Xiao Yan's dejection, Xiao Zun's slender eyebrows furrowed slightly, and she said earnestly, "Brother Xiao Yan, although I don't know why you've become like this, but Zun always believes that you will rise again and reclaim your glory and dignity and even become more outstanding than before. Heh heh, is that so? I hope so too." Xiao Yan smiled, not continuing the topic, but changed it. "You little girl are really amazing. You've reached 8 segments of Du Zhai Kai without even realizing it. You've left me far behind. Hee hee. Brother Xiao Yan, don't belittle yourself. Actually, Zun was just lucky." Xiao Zun quickly waved her hand, giggling. "Lucky, huh?" Xiao Yan smiled faintly, said nothing more, but quietly looked at Xiao Zun, a hint of nostalgia on his face. The frail little girl who, in his childhood, had to rely on his Du Zhai Kai for nourishment was no more. In her place was the genius girl, the number one among the younger generation of the Xiao family. And he, the third young master of the Xiao family, once famous in Wuten City 2 years ago, had become a good-for-nothing who couldn't even absorb Du Zhai Kai. Truly, fate plays tricks on people and changes are unpredictable. Chapter 22, Confused Xiao Yan. Chapter 22, Bewildered Xiao Yan. Zunner, I want to be alone for a bit. Xiao Yan gently shook his head, no longer dwelling on it, and instead took a deep breath. Brother Xiao Yan. Xiao Zun was startled, but seeing the lost and sorrowful expression on Xiao Yan's face, she knew there was something he didn't want others to know, so she softly said, I understand, Brother Xiao Yan. Then Zunner will leave first. If Brother Xiao Yan needs anything, you can call me. Xiao Zun smiled playfully, then waved her delicate hand at Xiao Yan and turned to leave. This silly girl. Xiao Yan watched her retreating figure, a wave of tenderness rising in his heart. He then gave a bitter smile and turned to walk in the other direction. Time moved to evening, night fell. Xiao family's back mountain. At the top of the cliff, Xiao Yan lay sprawled on the grass, a blade of green grass in his mouth, chewing lightly, letting the faint bitterness spread through his mouth. He raised his somewhat pale palm to shield his eyes, his gaze peering through the gaps in his fingers, looking at the huge silver moon in the sky. Sigh, what exactly is going on? Why did my Du Zhai Kai disappear? Remembering the afternoon's test, Xiao Yan spat out the grass, let out a light sigh, and scratched his hair in annoyance, a look of deep confusion in his eyes. From Du Practitioner to 4-stage Du Zhai Kai. Haha, the heavens truly mock me. Perhaps my coming to this world was a mistake to begin with. Xiao Yan muttered to himself, his eyes filled with confusion, seemingly unable to accept his current state. In Xiao Yan's heart, there was a secret known only to him. He was not from this world. Strictly speaking, his soul came from a blue-white star called Earth. As for why he came here, he couldn't explain such a bizarre experience. However, in the more than 10 years since arriving in this world, he had gained a certain understanding of this continent's situation. On this continent, there was no flashy Western magic. Only a type of cultivation called Du Zhai Kai was the mainstream. Therefore, Du Zhai Kai cultivation was also divided into 11 stages, from Du Zhai Kai to Du Dai. Based on his understanding from his years in the Xiao family, he only knew of the patriarchs of the major families in Wuten City, who possessed the strength of a great Du master. Beyond that, he had never seen anyone stronger. I thought coming to this world would allow me to experience the joy of becoming a strong person. Who would have thought that my Du Zhai Kai would regress instead of advancing? Now I can't even reach the Du Practitioner stage. A self-deprecating arc appeared at the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth, and a deep sense of sorrow and helplessness surged in his heart. 2 years ago, he was so exceptionally talented, but now he was utterly disheartened by the setbacks. 4-stage Du Zhai Kai, not 3 stages. It seems this saint's luck is good. Suddenly, just as Xiao Yan was feeling down, a slightly surprised voice sounded in his ear, making him frown and look up, following the sound. He saw a handsome young man in a black robe with his hands behind his back, proudly standing before him. The person who arrived was Zai Tianxiao. He had originally thought that even if Xiao Yan's storyline was in the early stages, he would have already broken off the engagement by now. He hadn't expected the current timeline to still be a year before Yao Lao awakened, and when Xiao Yan was not yet at 3-stage Du Zhai Kai, this gave him a feeling of being overjoyed. Who are you, and why are you in my Xiao family's back mountain? Looking at Zai Tianxiao in black, Xiao Yan was startled, but quickly calmed down and asked with a frown. He guessed in his heart that this person in front of him could never be from the Xiao family. This was the Xiao family's back mountain. Besides some direct bloodline members, no one else could come here. You are Xiao Yan, right? Who this saint is doesn't matter. What's important is that I know why your Du Zhai Kai disappeared. Zai Tingxiao stared at Xiao Yan with a playful smile on his face, slowly saying, "You know me. You also know why my Du Zhai Kai disappeared." Xiao Yan's eyes suddenly lit up. Although he didn't know who the black-clad man in front of him was, since the other party knew the reason for his condition, there must be a solution. There was no other way. The disappearance of his Du Zhai Kai was a pain in his heart. He couldn't imagine what he would become if his Du Zhai Kai continued to vanish. He would probably completely turn into a cripple. That's right, I can also solve this problem. Zai Tingxiao nodded lightly. Then quickly help me solve this problem. I'll agree to whatever conditions you have. There really is a way. A flicker of excitement flashed in Xiao Yan's eyes as he urged impatiently. He truly needed someone to solve the problem of his disappearing Du Zhai Kai right now. No rush. First, place this herb on the ancient black ring in your hand. Looking at the anxious Xiao Yan, Zai Tingxiao smiled faintly, waved his hand, and a plant like green jade appeared, floating before him. The entire herb was green, looking as if it were carved from a piece of fine green jade. At the top of the plant, a flower with 7 colors was slowly blooming. And as the flower opened, its 7 colors gradually changed, appearing extremely dazzling. My ring. Xiao Yan was startled, then looked at the exquisite plant in front of him and asked doubtfully, "Are you also an alchemist?" "No, but I need an alchemist." Zai Tingxiao shook his head slightly. "What do you mean?" Xiao Yan asked, puzzled. "Just do as I say." Zai Tingxiao did not directly answer Xiao Yan's words. "All right then." Xiao Yan reluctantly extended his right hand, placed the ancient ring in his hand against the jade-like herb, and then asked, and then, whoosh. Zai Tingxiao flicked his finger, and a black and white flame immediately shot out from his fingertip, instantly enveloping the jade-like herb. What kind of technique is this? Then, to Xiao Yan's horror, the 7-colored flower plant, scorched by the black and white flames, quickly dissolved. It transformed into tiny drops of colorful dew that slowly merged together, like a radiant pearl emitting 7-colored light, extremely dazzling and alluring. What beautiful dew! What is it? Xiao Yan stared dumbfounded at the scene unfolding before him. This bizarre technique was like a divine skill, making Xiao Yan unable to help but ask in a low voice. The herb you saw earlier is called 7 illusory cyan spirit saliva, and its purpose is to aid in the recovery of the soul. As for these colorful dewdrops, they are the purified essence I extracted by burning it with a strange flame. Zai Tingxiao slowly explained, looking at the astonished Xiao Yan. Zai Tingxiao was not an alchemist, but with his spirit realm soul and half-saint strength, coupled with his complete control over the yin-yang twin flames, extracting a 7 illusory cyan spirit saliva was not a difficult task. Listening to Zai Tingxiao's introduction, Xiao Yan couldn't help but gape. 7 illusory cyan spirit saliva, strange flame, extracting essence. What in the world are these things? He had never heard of any of these things, and no one in the Xiao family had ever mentioned them. What on earth were they? Chapter 23, The Elder. Chapter 23, Venerable Yao. Zai Tingxiao looked at Xiao Yan's bewildered expression, a mysterious smile playing on his lips. "You will understand later. For now, just watch." Later. Xiao Yan scratched his head with his left hand, not understanding. Following Zai Tingxiao's gaze, he looked down at the ancient ring on his right hand, tightly pressed against the 7-colored dewdrop. The previously ancient and somber dark ring actually glowed faintly. And under Xiao Yan's gaze, those 7-colored dewdrops, as if swallowed by the ring, began to dim at a visible speed. As the 7-colored radiance weakened, the dark light grew increasingly intense. Eventually, it was almost like a bottomless black hole, completely absorbing the 7-colored dewdrops. Watching the changes in the ring on his right hand, Xiao Yan's eyes widened. What was happening now? "Aren't you coming out yet, Venerable Yao Chen?" Zai Tingxiao narrowed his eyes and spoke faintly to the dark ring, which showed no reaction. Is someone there?" Xiao Yan quickly looked around but saw no one. "You've absorbed someone's Du Zhai Kai for over 2 years. Shouldn't you come out and explain?" Looking at the dark ring, which remained motionless, Zai Tingxiao glanced at Xiao Yan and said, "Who are you? How do you know this old man's name? A transparent, aged figure suddenly drifted out from the dark, ancient ring, looking warily at Zai Tianxiao. Heh heh, you don't need to worry about that for now. Xiao Yan, aren't you wondering why your Du Zhai Kai disappeared? The real culprit is right in front of you. Why don't you ask him? Looking at Xiao Yan, Zai Tianxiao chuckled, a hint of amusement in his eyes. Xiao Yan's heart jolted upon hearing this. He then turned his gaze to the aged, ethereal figure and asked, puzzled, "Old man, was it you who made my Du Zhai Kai disappear?" "Hey, you impolite little brat." The aged, ethereal figure lightly chided him, then said, "Cough, cough, you can call me Yao Chen. As for my origins, it's best not to tell you for now. Originally, this old man still needed to absorb another year of your Du Zhai Kai, but unexpectedly, the person next to you used a 7 illusory cyan spirit saliva to replenish this old man's soul power, which allowed this old man to recover ahead of time. As for absorbing your 2 years of Du Zhai Kai, this old man had no choice." As he finished speaking, the aged figure sighed. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan was inexplicably shocked, then his anger erupted and he cursed. "Good, it really was you, old bastard. Do you know how much humiliation you brought me by absorbing my Du Zhai Kai for 2 years? You old son of a bitch. You, give me back my Du Zhai Kai." Although Xiao Yan didn't know the origin of this aged figure, the fact that he had silently absorbed his Du Zhai Kai for 2 years absolutely infuriated him. If not for this old man, his current strength might have already reached a 5-star or 6-star Du practitioner. "Heh heh, little brat, don't get so agitated. Although this old man absorbed your Du Zhai Kai for 2 years and subjected you to cold stares and mockery during that time. But in those 2 years of mockery, you also saw through some human nature and grew a lot, didn't you?" Listening to Xiao Yan's furious curses, the old man's skin was quite thick. He didn't mind at all. Instead, he smiled noncommittally and said faintly. Xiao Yan frowned, his mood gradually calming down, but he still snorted coldly, crossed his arms, and said with a cold gaze, "I admit you're right, but that still doesn't change the fact that you absorbed my Du Zhai Kai." Although what the old man said was true, he still felt a bit displeased. After all, his Du Zhai Kai was absorbed by someone, and it was absorbed silently, and by an old man at that. Anyone would feel uncomfortable in such a situation. "Oh, little fellow, you have quite a temper." Yao Chen shook his head and chuckled, then continued, "It's just a few stages of Du Zhai Kai. How about this, little brat? Do you want to become stronger? Do you want to be revered by others? As long as you take this old man as your master, I guarantee you'll return to Du Zhai Kai stage 7 within a year, and even reach the Du practitioner rank by your coming-of-age ceremony the year after next." After Yao Chen finished speaking, a look of anticipation flashed in his eyes as he stared at Xiao Yan. "Take you as my master. Are you very strong? Now that I know why my Du Zhai Kai disappeared with my talent, do I still need you to become stronger?" Taking a deep breath, Xiao Yan said faintly. He knew in his heart that there was no free lunch, and this old man definitely had some motive. "Little brat, you can't say that. Do you know about the Cloud Mist sect in your Jiama Empire?" Yao Chen heard Xiao Yan's words and wasn't annoyed, smiling as he spoke. "I know. But what does that have to do with you?" Xiao Yan nodded, puzzled. The Cloud Mist sect was the most powerful sect in the Jiama Empire, and its sect master was a genuine Du Emperor powerhouse. Xiao Yan had some understanding of this. "Heh heh, although the Cloud Mist sect has a Du Emperor powerhouse and is a top-tier sect in the Jiama Empire, in my eyes, it's nothing but a fart." Yao Chen pouted and said disdainfully, "You." Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan was immediately choked by the arrogant old man's words. For a moment, he didn't know what to say, so he could only glare angrily at Yao Chen. "Haha, don't look at this old man like that. I'll also tell you, with your aptitude, if you cultivate alone, you'll only become a Du Emperor at best, capable of establishing a tiny force like the Cloud Mist sect. If you can take me as your master, I will not only help you surpass Du Emperor and experience the wonders of the entire continent, but also impart to you peerless alchemy techniques, allowing you to become a revered alchemist. TCH, who knows if you're lying?" Xiao Yan said disdainfully, clearly not believing the old man's words. Lying to you. Do you know how many powerhouses on the continent back then begged this old man to take them as disciples? Seeing Xiao Yan's disbelief, Yao Chen couldn't help but feel exasperated. Anyway, I don't believe it. But are you really an alchemist? Xiao Yan's eyes darted around, saying somewhat excitedly. Nonsense. Do you think this old man is saying all this to amuse you? Yao Chen rolled his eyes, speaking irritably. But aren't there many strict conditions to become an alchemist? Xiao Yan pondered, then suddenly seemed to realize something, abruptly looking up, mouth agape. So I meet them. Indeed, to become an alchemist, one's own attribute must be fire with a trace of wood energy mixed in for catalysis, and you just happen to have such conditions. Yao Chen nodded. Holy crap! Xiao Yan couldn't help but blurt out a curse upon hearing this, excitedly saying, Okay, I'll take you as my master, teach me alchemy. Although he didn't really believe how many powerhouses the old man claimed begged him to be their master, or that he could reach or surpass the Du Emperor realm. But if it was about being an alchemist, that was different. After all, alchemists were extremely rare and highly respected on this fighting Kai continent. At the very least, after becoming an alchemist, he wouldn't have to worry about money. Chapter 24, Become a Disciple, Chapter 24. Accepting a master, Zai Tianxiao, standing to the side, watched Xiao Yan and Yao Chen's conversation, and couldn't help but shake his head, thinking to himself. With Xiao Yan's current knowledge, if he knew Yao Chen's identity, he would probably just think he's a swindler. The current Xiao Yan was not the Flame Emperor, Xiao Yan, famous throughout the entire continent. Instead, he was just an ordinary person, Xiao Yan, with only 4 segments of Du Zhai Kai, completely ignorant of cultivation and even alchemy. It was precisely because of this Xiao Yan that there was no conflict of interest with Zai Tianxiao, which allowed Zai Tianxiao to not disturb Xiao Yan's series of attempts to find a master. Since you're willing, then perform the disciple's bow. Yao Chen sat cross-legged on a bluestone and beckoned to Xiao Yan, his meaning self-evident. I still have to bow. Xiao Yan was stunned for a moment. Nonsense. You think you can get me to teach you everything with just a word without bowing? Are you dreaming? Yao Chen rolled his eyes. Clearly, the old man, who was a bit pedantic, cared very much about this master-disciple relationship. All right, to become a respected alchemist, Xiao Yan had no choice but to quickly kneel down and respectfully say to Yao Chen, Teacher. Get up. Yao Chen nodded, very satisfied, and then added, I know you were unwilling to acknowledge me as your master because you were afraid I would be against you and force you to do something. And I do indeed have something I need you to do. Ah, there really is something. Xiao Yan was startled, then his face turned bitter. What are you panicking for? Let me finish. Yao Chen glared at Xiao Yan and continued, But don't worry, since you've become my, Yao Chen's, disciple, I will never make you do anything beyond your capabilities or that would threaten your life. By the time you can do that thing, you'll at least be at the Du Huang level. So, you don't need to worry at all that I would harm you. Yao Chen saw Xiao Yan's expression relax considerably, so he smiled and patted his shoulder. All right then. Xiao Yan shrugged and didn't ask further. This matter would be known sooner or later, so there was no rush at this moment. By the way, teacher, what rank alchemist are you? Xiao Yan suddenly asked. Alchemists on the Fighting Kai continent are divided into ranks 1 to 9, with 1 being the lowest and 9 the highest. The Pill King Gu He, who was famous throughout the Jia Ma Empire, was a 6th-rank alchemist. What, if the rank is low, are you going to dislike your master? Yao Chen stared at Xiao Yan with wide eyes. No, not at all. I was just a bit curious. After all, I'm your disciple now, but I don't even know your rank. Isn't that a bit too much of a failure? Xiao Yan scratched his head and quickly explained. What rank I am, I won't tell you yet, lest you become too arrogant and get carried away. Yao Chen shook his head, then said indifferently. However, you only need to know that for me. Someone who calls himself a Pill King is just trash. Good gracious, he even called the Pill King trash. What kind of teacher had he taken on? Xiao Yan swallowed, not daring to ask more for a while. Although I'm sorry to interrupt your master-disciple conversation, Yao Chen, You haven't forgotten who helped you recover with a 7 illusory cyan spirit saliva, have you? Just then, Zai Tianxiao's voice came from the side, with a hint of playfulness in his tone. That 7 illusory cyan spirit saliva was something Zai Tianxiao found in the storage rings of those Du Kings in the Tianyin Mountain Range. It was a free gain, but he couldn't let it go to waste. The necessary things still had to be done. Of course I remember. But what I don't understand is, how did you know I was staying in this ring? Yao Chen turned around, frowning slightly as he continued to ask. Moreover, you are not an alchemist, yet you know to use a heavenly flame to purify the 7 illusory cyan spirit saliva to help me recover my soul power. This makes me very curious. What exactly is your identity? Yao Chen had never forgotten Zai Tianxiao, but he saw him quietly watching him communicate with Xiao Yan, so he held back from asking about Zai Tianxiao's identity and intentions. There was also another reason. He couldn't see through Zai Tianxiao. Although he had just awakened, after being nourished by the 7 illusory cyan spirit saliva, his soul power could already reach the level of a high-level Du Huang. But he still couldn't determine Zai Tianxiao's strength, and the other party also knew him. This made Yao Chen feel that Zai Tianxiao was very likely a strong individual from the Central Plains, and his cultivation was not low. This was also the reason why, even after knowing Zai Tianxiao was aware he was hidden in the ring, he didn't dare to suppress the other party with his strength immediately. That's right. How did you know that the reason for my Du Zhai Kai disappearing was because teacher absorbed it? Xiao Yan also looked at Zai Tianxiao with a puzzled expression. You too, master and disciple, certainly have a lot of questions. Zai Tianxiao did not answer Yao Chen and Xiao Yan, but instead looked at Yao Chen and said, Yao Chen, you should have realized that I bear no ill will towards you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have helped you recover in advance, but would have just directly eliminated you. Hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, Yao Chen frowned deeply, remained silent for a moment, and then said, So, what is your purpose? I don't believe you would be kind enough to help me without expecting anything in return. Of course, there is a purpose. Zai Tianxiao didn't beat around the bush and directly stated, As long as you hand over the bone-chilling flame and refine some pills for me when I need them, that will suffice. Bone-chilling flame. Hearing this condition, Yao Chen's expression changed, and he narrowed his eyes, saying, So you're after my heavenly flame. He hadn't expected Zai Tianxiao to make such a demand. You can understand it that way. Zai Tianxiao nodded, not concealing anything. Since you know my name, you should also be aware of the importance of this heavenly flame to me, so please forgive me for not being able to agree. As for helping you refine pills, that's not a problem, but it will have to be some time later, because for the next 2 years, I need to teach Xiao Yan cultivation and alchemy. Yao Chen pondered for a moment, then refused. That heavenly flame was what he used for self-preservation and alchemy. It was his foundation. How could he hand it over so easily? If he hadn't been unable to see through Zai Tianxiao's strength, and was worried about the other party harming Xiao Yan, he would have long since made a move to test this person who wanted to seize his heavenly flame. The importance of a heavenly flame to an alchemist, I naturally know. But what does that have to do with me? Zai Tianxiao's lips curved into an arc as he looked at Yao Chen indifferently. You are being so unreasonable, Xiao Yan interjected from the side. Although he was very grateful to Zai Tianxiao for telling him about the problem of his disappearing Du Zhai Kai and for letting him take an alchemist as his master, he hadn't expected the other party to be so overbearing and unreasonable. Reason. Xiao Yan, you are still too naive. Reason requires equal strength. Coincidentally, I have it and you, for now, do not. Zai Tianxiao glanced at Xiao Yan, extended a finger and gestured back and forth in front of him, saying, You're twisting words, that's robber's logic, Xiao Yan exclaimed angrily. This Zai Tianxiao was so shameless, utterly brazen. Think whatever you want. Zai Tianxiao ignored Xiao Yan and instead turned to look at Yao Chen, saying indifferently, What do you think, Yao Chen? Chapter 25, Owl Devourer Saint. Chapter 25, Devourer Saint. My meaning is clear. Impossible. You should choose another condition. Yao Chen said with a grim face, he would not give the bone-chilling flame to Zai Tianxiao. Even if he wasn't Zai Tianxiao's opponent, he didn't believe Zai Tianxiao would kill him, an 8th-rank peak alchemist, for an exotic flame. Since the other party recognized him, he must also know his influence in the Central Plains, and therefore would be even less likely to do such a foolish thing that would cause more harm than good. HMPH, you are the first person on this continent to defy my will. Seeing this, Zai Tianxiao's face darkened, and then he said coldly, however, as the publicly recognized #1 alchemist in the Central Plains, you are qualified to be given another chance by me. What do you mean? Yao Chen's brows furrowed tightly. He felt a strong sense of danger, and his heart skipped a beat. Aren't you curious about my identity? Zai Tianxiao smiled coldly, and the aura on his body began to slowly rise. A powerful aura suddenly burst forth from him, causing the surrounding heaven and earth energy to become chaotic. Feeling this aura, Yao Chen's face changed dramatically. He quickly retreated with the stunned Xiao Yan, moving dozens of meters away from Zai Tianxiao. This saint, Zai Tianxiao, title, Devourer Saint. Zai Tianxiao slowly uttered his name word by word. What, Devourer Saint? Upon hearing the word saint, Yao Chen's face was instantly filled with horror, and his eyes flickered with disbelief. Saint, what is a saint? This was an existence standing at the very pinnacle of the entire fighting Kai continent. Every action of a saint could cause a huge sensation, and even stir up a bloody storm. One must know that even in the Central Plains, a place full of hidden talents, there were only a few forces with a due saint expert in charge. And these due saints either lived in seclusion or were in closed-door cultivation, not caring about worldly affairs. But now, this due saint-level expert named Zai Tianxiao, who was right in front of him, actually appeared in the Jia Ma Empire, a small Wutan city's Xiao family in the northwest. What kind of joke was this? I really didn't expect that you would be a due saint expert. Yao Chen took a deep breath, a hint of respect appearing on his face. No wonder he could recognize himself and say that he was giving him, the #1 alchemist in the Central Plains, another chance. So Zai Tianxiao was hiding so deeply. Although Yao Chen was confident that his previous cultivation of a 9 revolutions due venerate and his status as an 8th-rank peak alchemist grandmaster were enough to rank him among the top 5 publicly in the Central Plains, he was still far inferior to Zai Tianxiao, this saint. After all, he was not yet a 9th-rank alchemist, and the pills he refined were not of much help to due saint experts. It seems you're not completely muddled yet. Zai Tianxiao said indifferently, unfortunately, you're mistaken. I haven't yet stepped into the true due saint level. But you call yourself. Yao Chen was stunned for a moment, then suddenly realized, so you are a half-saint level expert who has 1 foot in the due saint realm. Previously, because Zai Tianxiao had only slightly released his aura and then claimed to be a saint, Yao Chen had assumed that the other party had already reached the due saint level. Now, after hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, Yao Chen realized that the feeling the other party had given him earlier was quite different from the due saint elders he had seen in the medicine clan. So the other party was just a half-saint, not a true due saint. Above the 9 stars of due venerate were 9 revolutions. Achieving sainthood through 9 revolutions did not mean becoming a due saint, but rather a half-saint, which was still a small stage away. A half-saint expert, newly entering the saint realm, far surpassed the venerate realm. Although only 1 foot had stepped in, it still carried thesaint character, allowing him to consider himself a saint. That is indeed the case. Zai Tianxiao nodded, then slowly said, you should know what a saint represents in the current continent. Although I have only half a foot in, I am still a saint, an existence far superior to the due venerate realm. Yao Chen heard this, and a bitter feeling rose in his heart as he whispered, you are right, a saint is indeed transcendent on the continent. Even in his prime, Yao Chen had to maintain respect when facing a saint, let alone now, when he was just a soul body clinging to life. Looking at the respectful Yao Chen, Zai Tianxiao nodded with satisfaction and continued. So, you think that because you were once the #1 alchemist in the Central Plains, this saint wouldn't dare to kill you? Although your prestige in the Central Plains was indeed extremely high back then, A peak 8th rank is still an 8th rank. Without entering the 9th rank, you won't be taken seriously by saint-level experts. This is also why, despite your high prestige in the Central Plains back then, no saint-level expert ever joined your Starfall pavilion. Hearing Zai Tianxiao's words, Yao Chen's face turned ugly. Although he had long understood this in his heart, when it was brought up to his face, he still felt incredibly embarrassed. Besides, everyone knows that you perished in a pill refinement backlash. Even if I obliterate your soul, your friends won't know. Or, even if they did know, would they dare to come and trouble this saint? Zai Tianxiao said indifferently, his tone filled with confidence and arrogance. Yao Chen's face turned ashen, but he was helpless. Zai Tianxiao was right. No one would be foolish enough to offend a saint for a dead person, even if that saint was only a half-saint. Seeing this, Zai Tianxiao looked at Yao Chen with a hint of displeasure and slowly said, "After all, you were once the #1 alchemist in the Central Plains, and I have uses for you, which is why I gave you a chance to consider. If it were anyone else, this saint would have already acted to obliterate him and wouldn't waste so much breath." The reason Zai Tianxiao came here, besides obtaining Yao Chen's bone-chilling flame to advance his cultivation and check the plot progress, was also that he had no conditions for alchemy and didn't know how to refine pills. If he could subdue Yao Chen for his own use, it would be of considerable help to the forces he would create in the future or to himself. But if Yao Chen continued to be ignorant, Zai Tianxiao wouldn't mind directly eliminating him and Xiao Yan, making them completely disappear from this world. After all, there were many 8th rank alchemists in the Central Plains, but most of them belonged to the Pill Tower, and subduing them would be much more troublesome. I understand. Yao Chen sighed, a bitter feeling rising in his heart, and finally spoke, pleading. I wonder if Devourer Saint can allow me a few months' delay before handing over the bone-chilling flame to you. As the saint can see, my newly accepted disciple needs me everywhere right now. If I give it to the saint now, my strength and alchemy skills will both decline considerably. Instead, after these few months, when I have put Xiao Yan's cultivation on track, this old man will personally hand over the exotic flame to the saint. Furthermore, if the saint's forces, friends, and juniors need any pills refined, feel free to come to this old man. This old man will do his utmost to help. Although Yao Chen was very reluctant to hand over his exotic flame, the other party was, after all, a half-saint expert who had no qualms about him. If he continued to be ignorant, then he and his disciple Xiao Yan would probably die at the hands of this devourer saint. You may, but you must join this saint's command and refine pills for this saint's future forces. If you refuse, you will be an enemy of this saint. You should know that this saint doesn't mind eliminating you, your disciple Xiao Yan, and the entire Xiao family right now. Zai Tianxiao said indifferently, his tone containing an irresistible majesty that made Yao Chen tremble all over. Yao Chen didn't offend the protagonist, nor did he have any conflict of interest with the protagonist, and the protagonist also couldn't refine pills, so our protagonist didn't directly kill him. Also, thank you all for your recommendation votes and monthly votes. I wanted to type out names, but found that several people's names were special symbols that I couldn't find, which is awkward. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. I haven't read this novel yet, so I'm not sure whether to continue or end it here. Let me know your opinion in the comments. Your feedback really helps. Thanks for your support as always.